It's time for Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrott and Richard Campbell are here. There's a new start menu. Came yesterday on Patch Tuesday. We'll talk about that. The Wall Street Journal finally getting mad at Microsoft for not disclosing everything it owns with OpenAI. We'll talk a lot about .NET. .NET Conf is going on right now, and you know Richard's an expert. And introducing the newest video game console from Steam, if you believe it. All of that and more coming up next on Windows Weekly.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott and Richard Campbell, episode 958. Recorded Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. Personal Turkey. It's time for Windows Weekly. Hello, all you winners and a few dozers. This is the show we talk about the latest from Microsoft with the two premier journalists in the Microsoft space.
Oh, goodness.
Coming to us from Tauranga, New Zealand, it is Richard Campbell. Hello, Richard.
Welcome here from the future. It's Thursday here, Thursday morning.
How's the weather in the future?
It was very stormy overnight, like just blasting away. Found a trampoline on the milk truck road, blown over from some neighbor's place.
You know, that always happens to trampolines.
Yeah, they fly. They're big sails. So the trampoline up here is held down by like 6 big spikes, so it stayed in place. But somebody else
stake ours down so that wouldn't happen.
But the sun's out now. You can see it, speaking through the window here and washing me out a bit. But
anyway, the kids have something new to play on. So
that's it. Yeah. Well, the main thing is we got to get out of the way because they got to unload milk today. So you got to get that trampoline.
Oh, that's right. You're on a dairy farm, aren't you?
We're on a dairy farm.
How much milk? Well, but before I ask that question, let's say hello to Paul Thurrott, who's in Mexico City from Thurrott.com.
I feel like we've been talking for 30 minutes, but hello.
You've been on camera. So how much milk does that farm you're on produce, Richard?
It's 150 head. So they pick up milk every couple of weeks. And it's a big tank, 30,000 liters. Like it's...
You have to get up at dawn or milk the cow?
I don't. There are professionals. Goodness knows you wouldn't want to count on me, but I go down there every so often. I've redone the network here at the house with Ubiquity stuff, and they want to put a relay to the milk shed. So
yes, they do.
Relay to the milk shed.
Yeah.
Nobody.
There's your podcast title. Anymore.
They have machines, right?
Well, they're well on. And there's machines for doing the actual milking, but they're ready to go IoT on these cows now because we're in artificial insemination season, and so they have.
I love that time of year.
Oh yeah, no,
we sure are.
You should really not ask me about the details of how you artificially inseminate a cow because it is not.
No, nobody wants to know.
I think I saw it on Yosemite, but okay.
You do not. So.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're now starting to put sensors for the cows to figure out when they're in cycle, so that the insemination will take.
Do they have to wear a little pouch? What do they? Or do they?
They got a collar. It's a collar.
It's a collar.
Yeah.
Wow. They have a little aura ring for bovine.
Basically,
aura ring.
bovine. He says, "I'm ready.
Come and get me, boys."
Yeah. Well, funny, they have 4 bulls. They do have 4 bulls here right now on rent.
Oh, so they do it the old-fashioned.
No, they do not. They're just there to get the girls riled up.
Oh, they're just there for show.
Yep.
Oh my God! I don't know if we want to know any more about this.
I literally absolutely do not.
People tune in; they don't expect.
I want to be super clear about this. I think we're good. I think we're good right there.
It's
I tuned in for Windows information. Instead, I got
Windows TMI.
Yeah.
TMI for breakfast.
Yeah.
Paulie.
Yes, sir.
Patch Tuesday was yesterday.
Just since we're on this topic, though, I just want to say I get my milk from the Aberrotes down the street, and I'm pretty sure no cow was ever involved in the.
Do they have a little sound they play as they walk around with their milk?
Do you see them milking the oats? Are they milking the oats?
It's a place where I could buy like a ham and cheese sandwich and a curiously fresh fruit thing, but I don't know. The milk, some of the mass-produced stuff here is a little off.
It comes in a box, right? It comes in a septic packaging. Or is
it goes bad in like 3 days. As soon as you open it, it's sour. You're like, what is it?
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, that's the dairy segment on the show.
Sorry. Okay. So yes,
For you
Patch
lactose
Tuesday.
intolerance winners and dozers, I am sorry. Now,
Yes.
Patch Tuesday.
Patch
Yesterday.
Tuesday.
What happened?
Well, number of
Everything
things.
went great. Everything was fine. It was fine.
Yeah, so far so good. 2425H2 got a pretty good update. Maybe not. Well, one of the things that's in here, which is the new start menu, might be the biggest UI change to Windows 11 in a long time. That
start
people
menu.
will
Oh,
actually,
my.
yeah, like people will notice it, like it's, it's real or whatever. It's good.
It actually happened.
What's changed?
I don't know. I don't use the start menu. No, it's I pretty much skip it. But in the past, it had the two sections, pinned and recommended. Recommended could be a mix of documents and apps, and then now adds, recommendations, literally. And now there's a third section, which is basically apps, and it's at the bottom. And by default, it uses a very iPhone-like library view, which is not called library view, but what is it called? It's called
All.
Well, all is the
all.
name of the. No, I know, but the view style is category style, right? So
yes.
similar to the app library. And
Oh yeah, so
iOS.
Apple added that to the iPhone a few iterations.
so this used to be a subscreen, right? You would go in the top right of the menu, click more, and then you would see this list. But the list view is the one that is identical to the old view, except it's on the front of the start menu now. I mean, that's the biggest thing, honestly. You don't get layout options anymore like we used to in settings, which is fine because it was pointless anyway. There's a little phone icon up to the right of the search bar, so you can turn that side pane thing on and off. The slice, as it's called, I think, for your phone. And then after that, it's pretty much the same. Same, other than the ability to change the layout. The customization is all the same. So if you want recommended to only show apps and not documents or whatever, you can do that, that kind of stuff. So,
and this is for 24 and 25 inch.
Yeah, if it's a supported version of Windows 11, you'll get it. It also, the thing you can't really get from the image is it also scales according to the size, resolution, and scaling of your display. So if you have a really big display with a small, like 100% or 125% scaling, maybe, it will be really big. Like you'll get additional horizontal space, I guess. I've never really seen that, to be honest. But that's because I'm using laptops here. That's all I got. But anyway, I would say at 27, whatever, 30, whatever inch screen, probably going to get some good additional space there. So
That's nice because screens tend to be wider than they are.
yeah, exactly.
Not Microsoft's because they like the.
No, but the
4x3.
external displays we buy today are still pretty much 16:9 for whatever reason, right? You don't see 16:10 in that space too much. I don't know why, but that's where we're at. So yeah, I mean, you could actually use that space, so it's good.
Cool.
Yeah. So beyond that, everyone gets, the start menu. Like I said, the battery icon change where it's going to be different colors based on the state of the battery. So if it's charging, it will be green. If it's in battery saver mode, it'll be yellow. Critically low will be red. You can optionally display the battery life percentage like you can on a phone. That's kind of cool. Administrative protection, that kind of, not controversial, but really aggressive locking down of your admin account, which is your account. It's off by default, but you can enable it. In my experience, it's very disruptive. Maybe that will get better over time, but
Yeah, it reminds me of UAC, which was really bad, initially,
Right.
and then gradually eased off.
yeah. So so when UIC was first announced, especially, and maybe the way it was implemented in Vista in the beginning, it was annoying, and then in Windows 7, they kind of streamlined it. They did a nice job. And so this is them going in the reverse direction because now it's a Windows Hello experience and it's slow and you still have to acknowledge the prompt. It comes
Slow
up and
is
says,
the sin,
it's like,
right?
oh, it's you. And then it sits there and you're like, okay, it's me. Can we move on, please? And no, you got to click the button. It's something that needs to be streamlined. So I'm thinking they'll get that one right eventually. But also the primary problem is that it comes up so much. I'm sure what they're trying to avoid is a situation where something you're doing requires permission elevation and it just happens. and you're not aware of it, right? And I'm sure that's what it is. I would like the option to turn it off because I do not care. If someone is physically holding me in front of the webcam and forcing it to do something I don't want to do, I have bigger problems than Windows Hello moving a little slow. But anyway, there's that kind of stuff. And then if you have a Copilot Plus PC, there's a bunch of improvements across Click to Do, File Explorer, Voice Access, and Windows Search, which I think of as semantic search at this point. So that last one is if you are an AMD or Intel-based PC, I think it was only available in preview before. Now it's there, so you should have that. The File Explorer stuff is that escalating right-click menu, which interestingly I saw I think it was on Twitter or something. Microsoft was talking about. Oh no! I watched a Windows App SDK community call, and they were talking about how they're gonna work to fix that problem. So instead of, I'm not sure how this fixes it, to be honest, but instead of like a giant menu with a bunch of stuff on it, you'll have submenus now, like in the Windows 95 start menu. So you'd have to you have to be super accurate. If you you remember you used to go you'd go off at like 1 pixel.
Yeah, and the whole menu would collapse, and
it was back. It was like 8 things in, and they'd be like, "Oh, I lost it," that kind of thing.
And then, websites like that these days, I don't go there anymore.
Yeah, right. And then a bunch of stuff with Click to Do. Just you can do on-screen language translation of text, which I think is pretty cool. Unit conversion of things. I don't know, but I don't know how. I don't know how other people use their computers, but I look at this stuff and I always think yeah, this is fun. Like it's absolutely sort of productivity focused. It's I don't have a problem with it. I'm like, I will never use any of this stuff. I don't quite understand what the point of it is, but
somebody must.
Right. I don't mind that it's there. That's my point. Like it's fine. It's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah. So that was that. So we'll see what happens in December. Microsoft usually bails, mid-month. So January will probably be pretty light, but I bet we have another pretty good update coming. And
yeah, it's that everybody's working on Ignite, so they definitely lose 2 weeks in November.
Oh, yeah, right. That's a good point. So, right. Actually, that's a really good point. Yeah. So
I always look at the November, December as effectively a month.
Lost. Yeah. It's like Microsoft, like Windows is operating on a 10-month schedule, basically.
Yeah.
Honestly, after this year and all the updates, I think we could all use a break. I got
to tell you, I talked to lots of Blue Badges that are in that mood too. Like they've run so hard this year. That October tour, talked to a lot of them, and it's just like ready for this year to be done.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of us are in that space. They were all on Ignite. Like everybody was on Ignite this time.
Right. Yeah. They've been kind of previewing Ignite a lot all over the place. Like if you follow Microsoft's blogs, or their social media presence or whatever it is, they're sort of giving little hints about things and then saying, well, there'll be more at Ignite,
Yeah.
Which is usually the way I kind of approach things, where it's like, when do you think this is going to happen? I'm like, well, let's see what happens at the next show, which in this case is Ignite. But they're kind of doing that as well. So
now, to me, a show that is next week that is still, and it's a Microsoft show and it's still not sold out, says a lot. Yeah,
it does. But then, I don't know, given the lack of expense of just doing this virtually, the premise behind going to a show like that is that you get to interact in person with the expert. And in Ignite's case, or Microsoft show, you're often the people on the product team, which is awesome, right? Like this is valuable.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see how many of them were actually shipped to San Francisco. Because
that's the thing. I mean, so I got to think about this. Maybe since the pandemic, they've stayed pretty close to home. With the live shows, right?
And that was why being in Seattle was so great, because you could have a lot of the team there because they were there.
Right. Yeah, that picture that came up in the Discord, and we brought it up last week, I think, too, of you and I, is from Orlando, from possibly Ignite 2019. Probably, right? And which was the last one before the pandemic. So. And that was also my last work trip and then for the next year or whatever. But I don't know. Obviously, it's good for kind of networking purposes, which for me is just keeping touch with people you haven't seen in a while. But
I go to a lot of in-person events. Like people want to be face-to-face, right? And they want to learn that way. So
yes,
there's lots of demand. It's just interesting to see how Microsoft is rethinking all of this. And I would also say, like, the team leads for these shows keep changing. So clearly they're feeling around for different approaches. I don't know how important moving to Moscone was, because last time I heard they were complaining about Seattle's homeless problem. So
I don't know. I don't know if you've been to San Francisco, but they might also have a problem with that. In fact, they might have perfected that problem.
Was it the homeless or the protesters they didn't like?
Well,
both.
And goodness knows there's no protesters in San Francisco, so that'll be fine.
But there are fewer Microsoft employees
place,
in San Francisco, right? I mean, most of the protesters, or many of them, were
Microsoft employees, right?
Right.
Well, look, I'm sure we'll have protests. I mean, I wouldn't worry about that. But I actually wonder, as you kind of asked, or I don't remember how it was phrased, but Richard said something that made me think, I wonder if this isn't like a AI fatigue kind of a thing. The point being, not that what Microsoft is or isn't doing with Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot, whatever it is, right? It's not that it's not necessarily good or useful or whatever, but it might be that for these guys, who are ITM, it's like, this is going to be the whole show. Like, it's going to be the whole show.
Yeah.
And
you got to imagine it will be.
I have more kind of bread and butter problems than whether or not some employees like summarizing an email or whatever. So maybe we can skip this one. That might have something to do with it. I just pulled that one out.
You hit on an interesting point, because I'm talking to several other AI related shows that are getting a lot of lashback.
Right.
So people are pretty burned out, and
it's too much, too fast, and then too disappointing.
Plus there's also this whole era of, we know this is a bubble and it's ending. Why are you still pretending it's not?
Right. Yep. So interestingly, this is a coincidence. I only have one item in the AI segment of the show today, which is,
I love that.
This is a 2-year low. That was not. It was not. No, I'm serious. It was not by design, but it's just kind of the way it worked out. But we'll see. We'll see. I haven't. It's sometime before the show. I'll see what they're going to do, and then we'll talk about it next. Well, actually, we won't, because maybe we will. When does Ignite start? Is it Tuesday or?
Yeah, something like that next week. But I'm going to be still in New Zealand, or you're heading to Australia. So I'm not terribly unhappy to be missing this one. But
should we cover the keynote?
You know what? Let me talk to you about that offline when I know what's happening, and then you can decide.
Help us decide editorially. I mean, I haven't seen willing to. We'd like to cover keynotes, but only if they're substantive. If it's just Satya, kind of opining.
Yep. I can't. I'm going to want to read a transcript of that part of it. I can't.
I know.
I can't even.
It's too much business speak. I think that's it's awful. The issue. It's like,
and it's always new. Like, I've said this before, but when it comes to AI, there's so much new language.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like I think other people feel when they hear, like me and Richard talking, where there's like normal people and they're like, what the hell is this guys talking about? And there's that aspect to it. But then you listen to like the Microsoft earnings stuff or whatever it is, and they're using all these, it's like, it's a fungible fleet. And it's like, why are we introducing new words? Like, can't we just use the words we already have? Like, why do we have to, everything has to be new. And it's just weird. Oh, by the way, actually, someone, Kev Brewer says he's correct. Satya's not going to be doing the keynote, by the way.
Good.
And I don't know why.
But if they're going to do it on Tuesday, that means we can talk about it on Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's really the choice. Is should we cover it live, or is it
I will
synopsize?
Reach out to you when I know.
Yeah,
this is the way I will say that.
That's how we like to do.
Yeah, we'll see. And then if Twitter announces they're going to cover it live, it's going to be something good.
That's right.
I guess which is not really violating an NDA per se, but it's I don't know.
We have covered so many not so good keynotes.
Tell me about it. And
that I don't.
I'm going to reference one of them at the end of the show. Okay. Actually,
I know exactly which one.
Yeah. I will never forget it as long as I live. Okay. So in keeping with what I just said about Microsoft sort of talking about things ahead of Ignite, They have an initiative called the Secure Future Initiative that is about security first at Microsoft. It's like, I thought it was AI first. Yeah, we're going to say it's security.
Yeah, SFI came first, right? That was Midnight Blizzard that really got that running.
Yeah, and then there was a renewed kind of interest and push with it because of CrowdStrike, right? And then now Windows has its own initiative that's part of that. But so ahead of Ignite, they were just Microsoft there's nothing actually new, like unless you're just not paying attention, I guess. But they have added they've made some changes to Windows 11, including that admin protection thing we just talked about. But quick machine recovery, which we've talked about, some improvements to Windows Hot Patch, phishing resistant multi-factor authentication, which I would hope all,
which we should be all.
All is it? Like, I always hope so. And then the passwordless sign-in stuff using passkeys and FIDO2 credentials. So, Windows 11 has had basic passkey support, I want to say since 23H2, I think it was. Didn't do anything, basically, except some password authentication for your Microsoft account, basically. But now it's more full-featured. The password manager built into Edge does this now as well. And it supports third-party password managers. So if you could go into Windows 11. I think they just announced today, during the beta, it was 1Password. Now it's 1Password and, I can't remember if it's Bitwarden or Dashlane, but one of the two can now integrate into this interface in the Settings app. So instead of using the built-in Windows /Edge password /passkey management capabilities, you can use the one of your choice, which is great because you could create a passkey on the PC and then it will be available to you on your phone. And if you've already done a bunch of passkey stuff through whatever the system is, just by signing in, you get it in Windows too, right? So that one to me is a big win. That's good. Mm-hmm. And I should mention too, Surface is part of it, and we've talked about this in the past. I'm not sure there was new news per se leading up to the show. There might be next week at the show, but Surface has really, you don't give them a lot of, or I don't think people think about it this way, but Surface has really pioneered the use of Rust in rewriting UEFI firmware. And they have open sourced it. It's available to anyone who wants to use it, right? And I'm not aware of any PC maker that has taken them up on this, but this thing is, it's memory safe and more secure, et cetera. And so all the modern Surface PCs have this.
Interesting.
Yeah, it works. It works well in my limited experience, but it does seem to work okay. So yeah, that's a little, this is the type of stuff they're going to be talking about Ignite, right? We're not going to be talking about the Xbox Game Bar. We're not, it's going to be like this kind of stuff.
You would presume I haven't seen any content plan at all. .NET Conf's going on this week, so I think the devs are focused on that, but I presume they'll be at Ignite. Like, we keep thinking Ignite is a replacement for Tech Ed and was really focused on more administrative stuff, but that just hasn't been true.
Yeah, no, it's definitely admin, IT heavy, but there's been a developer component to it since I don't know, maybe the beginning, really. I don't remember, but
pretty much.
It's not as big as Build, obviously, but it's still a place where they could make some announcements there. So we shall see. Last week, Microsoft, after we got some rumors to this effect, revealed that indeed there will be a 26H1 release of Windows 11. They haven't said anything about it. The rumors are saying that this is really for this Snapdragon X2 line of Copilot Plus PCs that's going to come out sometime early next year. And I can only guess at this point, and I think I did last week. There might be a handful of new features that are specific to those machines, but I think it's going to be pretty much what you see everywhere. So this time they're just using a different name. Remember when they did 20, I forget when things happened. I guess it would have been 24H2. They released the initial release only for Snapdragon, right? First in June or whatever, or May, June. Mm-hmm. And you could get it through the Insider program if you had an x86 computer. And then it came out again in October for everybody, right? And so even if you got it through Snapdragon, obviously it had been improved over the 6 months or whatever. So they're doing the same thing, but this time they're just going to call it something different. So that to me is pretty straightforward. There's nothing, we'll see how this turns into. But after prepping us for the fact that Dev will be moving to this new version of Windows, again, they didn't say it that way, but that's what's happening. they released the first 26H1 build to the Canary channel.
The Canary channel.
And it's like, what? So
when's the last time we had anything released to the Canary channel?
yeah, like first, exactly. Never. I mean, like literally.
Never.
I mean,
Are you trying to use Canary like it's a canary? Like,
yeah,
what's
exactly.
going
So
on?
right, and they're like, and I love the messaging around. It's like, don't worry, there's nothing new in here. You don't even think about it. It's like, what?
You
What-
mean
what-
the thing that Canary's supposed to be?
Yeah, and the other thing is like, I didn't try it, but I mean, if you're in Canary and you have a x86 computer like a normal person,
Yeah.
I'm guessing you can get 26H1 right now. So it's like, what's this schedule exactly? This is bizarre, you know? So if you thought this was going to introduce any clarity to anything, it's just, don't worry, it didn't. So anyway, there are no new features allegedly. Yeah, we don't know.
Okay. And you don't have a machine configured for Canary right now.
No, I would never
Well,
use
then why
Canary.
would you?
I don't see the point. Yeah. Well, now it's like, okay, maybe, but
Yeah.
Dev's going to get on this path as well.
It'll
so-
show up in dev anytime.
Yeah,
now,
and it's
I
probably, I mean, maybe, yeah, I don't know if it'll be this month or next month or whatever, but
I'd be really interested in knowing how many people are configured for Canary. Like, that's an interesting question.
yeah.
It's always been an orphan, right? Like,
Right.
it's never really become.
It's also, I say this, please take this with the ignorance with which it is intended, because I don't install these builds. But when you read the posts about them, you're not getting a cumulative update that updates whatever you have to the new build. You're getting like a full build. It's like a full install.
yeah.
And so they don't really spend a lot of time.
With no indication there'll be a way out of it.
Right.
Like,
Oh, no,
You're supposed to pave your way out of a Canary build.
Exactly. You're going to nuke this thing from orbit. This is the only way. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. And then, earnings are still kind of dribbling out.
Boy.
Yep. So Qualcomm actually reported a net loss, oddly, on revenues of $11.3 billion in the
That's
quarter.
not very hip.
Yeah, but it was because they took a one-time $5.7 billion write-down charge from the U.S. government's One Big Beautiful Bill Act. So congratulations, everybody. But
So that means they were in line to make $2.5 billion. And
yeah, they were doing fine.
Didn't
And
eat
they
up.
expect this quarter to be great and going forward should be great. They seem to think they're past this problem. So I guess we'll see. But I in the context of Intel, I've been saying lately, you have to remember Intel, when they report their earnings, doesn't include Intel Foundry revenues in their
Anymore,
earnings.
yeah.
It's treated like a separate company. For the past, I want to say 2, maybe 3 quarters, Qualcomm has been reporting their revenue excluding the money they get from Apple, because they want to show that the business is healthy without that business, because at some point Apple's going to drop them like the bad habit that Apple believes they are.
Do you think they also don't want to tell people how much it is? I mean, Apple refuses to tell people what they make from Google.
Right.
But no, that's just licensing money, though, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
somewhere.
Well, no, it's chips, right? Because they are making modem chips, right? So
They don't want to tell people how many chips they're selling to Apple, and Apple is replacing
I don't
their
think
chips.
Qualcomm cares. I think that, honestly, I think this is I don't think that they ever said, by the way, this quarter we sold 17 chips to Apple. I don't think this is them becoming
Apple
less
would not want them to
transparent.
say that, by the way. That would
Of course.
secret kind of stuff.
And Qualcomm would probably say, yeah, well, go to your other alternative and get the modem from who that other company
Apple's
is.
making them. That's
No,
the
I know.
point.
Now they are. I mean, now they are.
Yeah,
right?
that's why
so
it's
at
going to
some
go to
point-
zero soon.
That's right. So I think the reason they're doing it is for Wall Street, right? In other words, there would be a lot of questions for this company about their viability going forward if they lose this big business. And what they're trying to demonstrate is that we're still seeing year-over-year revenue growth.
Yeah.
without
We're still a
Apple.
successful company without Apple's numbers in here at all.
Just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
We're going to be fine. Obviously, they make most of their money from Android phones, of course, Android devices, whatever. And yeah, when you look at like what I say was 11.3 billion, like almost 10 billion of that was from the phone chips, right? Of course. I mean, of course it is. So not just processors, but they make other chips as well. And they make chips for, IoT, automotive, PC, of course. And they do have a licensing business, but that one's been declining for a long time. It's 1.4 billion in revenues, down 7% year over year. I don't know. I don't think people or companies want to license anything from Qualcomm anymore. But anyway, they'll be fine.
But their CPU business is the thing that's supposed to save them, right? Like this is the play.
And yeah, this didn't come up in my write-up or anything, but like a lot of companies, we saw this with AMD. They're making a sort of data center push themselves as well, which makes sense. When they acquired Nuvia, those chips that became Snapdragon X started off as chips for data centers. And they had really good graphics capabilities, right? And that was the point. And then they bought that company and they did what they did with it. But they're trying to diversify, I guess is the way to say it. So,
yeah, smart.
Yeah. Well, folks, I hope you've enjoyed this.
Yeah, that's all the windows I got. So I'll see you next week, everybody. Thank you.
Look at the quarterly results of some of the biggest industries in the world. We're going to take a little break, and then we will talk about Microsoft. We will, I promise.
Oh, yes.
I promise. And AI. And we've even got some developer stuff, Xbox stuff, and brown liquor stuff. Mm-hmm. All of the stuff coming up. But first, let's talk about our fine sponsor. This episode of Windows Weekly brought to you by my personal choice for password managers, Bitwarden, the trusted leader in passwords, passkeys, and secrets management, by which I mean in my use, I store everything that I want to keep private in the Bitwarden vault because it's properly encrypted and it's not visible to anybody but me. So I keep my passport in there, my driver's license, images of those. I keep my social security number, that of my family, all in there. So that's my personal secrets, but also the kinds of secrets developers accidentally send to GitHub sometimes and are embarrassed. API keys, those secrets that GitHub and others give you. Your SSH private key. In fact, Bitwarden, I love Bitwarden. They recently made it possible to generate, store, and serve SSH keys right from Bitwarden. Nice. Keeps you from accidentally syncing it up with your GitHub. Bitwarden is consistently ranked number 1 in user satisfaction, not just by developers, but by businesses. G2, number 1. Software reviews, number 1. More than 10 million users, 180 countries. And yes, over 50,000 businesses trust Bitwarden. And there's a good reason. In fact, I would say there's a more compelling reason for businesses to use it, because you don't really control your employees' hygiene. And unfortunately, employees sometimes do things like use passwords like monkey123 or reuse the same password on many, many sites. There are more than 19 billion passwords out there on the dark web right now. If you look at Troy Hunt's Pwn to Own, 19 billion. Here's the scary thing for any business. 94% of them, almost all, are reused across accounts. This is an epidemic. InfoStealer malware threats surged by 500% in the past year because, smart hackers these days, they don't bother trying to hack. Like in war games, let's try some different passwords. They just, look for the Post-it note in effect. They log in with the weak or reused passwords that they get from these password breaches. If you reuse a password, they use credential stuffing attacks to try that password on every other site. They've got your email and passwords. They're going to try it on your bank. They're going to try it on Amazon. They're going to try it on GitHub. They're going to keep trying. And if you reuse passwords, it's going to work. This is why you need Bitwarden's new Access Intelligence. This is a new business feature, new enterprise feature that enables enterprises to proactively defend against these kinds of internal credential risks, weak or reused passwords, plus external phishing threats. 2 ways it does this. Risk Insights helps your team, your IT team, your security team identify, prioritize, and remediate at-risk credentials, bad credentials, right? Then they have an advanced phishing blocker, which alerts and redirects users away from known phishing sites in real time. Bitwarden's using a really nice, continuously updated open source block list of malicious domains. So half the time, they don't even get to that malicious domain, more than half. That's fantastic, right? You don't want to even give them the opportunity to click on that bad link or to fill in the credentials on that bad site. The other thing that's fantastic, and Bitwarden's been right on this from the beginning, passwordless authentication. It's transforming digital security. As always, Bitwarden is at the forefront, offering support for both passkeys and other FIDO2 standards to strengthen and simplify the login experience. I use Bitwarden with passkeys. I far prefer it to using a device passkeys, the phone's passkeys, because Bitwarden's everywhere. Every device I use, so my passkeys are everywhere. Bitwarden's enhanced passkey support goes across web, desktop, and mobile platforms. Means you can store and sync passkeys with end-to-end encryption. They're absolutely secure. They also, I do this because I really trust Bitwarden. I had used Bitwarden's 2-steps. So I put my 2-step, my TOTP passwords in Bitwarden, which really simplifies the login. 2-step login with FIDO2, WebAuthn. It will work with your YubiKeys and other hardware key authentication. You can use those as a second factor. You can use them as a primary method for supported logins. And of course, you can use your YubiKey to log into your Bitwarden vault as well. Nowadays, we've got biometric unlock enhancements on mobile and desktop, Windows Hello, Face ID, Touch ID, that kind of thing. That really streamlines access. It says without compromising security, I would submit it's enhanced security because it's biometric. It's also great for convenience. Sometimes convenience and security can go together. Improved autofill experiences for passkeys, cards, identities. They're designed to work seamlessly across modern browsers and apps. I turn this on everywhere. It's not on by default, by the way, but you can turn it on as an administrator or as an individual. So I use my Touch ID and my Windows Hello to unlock Bitwarden, to unlock sites everywhere. If you want to move to Bitwarden as an individual or as an enterprise, you'll be glad to know Bitwarden's setup only takes a few minutes. It supports importing for most password management solutions. Steve Gibson and I both moved to Bitwarden roughly the same time, just like that. Just took the whole vault, put it into Bitwarden, and we're done. And the best thing, the reason I even considered Bitwarden from the beginning is they're open source. I think anytime you use crypto, it should be open source so you can inspect it, so third parties can audit, so you know there's no backdoor, it's not badly coded. They're not using roll your own encryption. Bitwarden is regularly audited by third-party experts. You can inspect it by anyone. There's the source code's on GitHub. Bitwarden meets SOC 2 Type 2, GDPR, HIPAA, CCPA compliance, ISO 27001-2002 certification. It is absolutely the best. Get started today with Bitwarden's free trial of a Teams or Enterprise plan. And don't forget, if you're an individual, because it's open source, it's free forever with no limitations. All your devices, as many passwords and passkeys as you want. It's hardware key support as well. Individuals, free forever at bitwarden.com/twit. That's a good thing to know to tell your friends and family. Thanksgiving's coming. You know they're going to come to dinner. You're going to ask them, hey, how do you store your passwords? They're going to tell you. You're going to be shocked. And then you can tell them, hey, you really should use Bitwarden. Oh, I can't afford that. It's free. Bitwarden, free for individuals. Bitwarden.com/twit. Think of it as a little Thanksgiving gift you can give to all your friends and family. Bitwarden.com/twit. And if they don't use it, hey, it's on them. Now it's on them. You told them. You did your best. On we go with Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrott in Roma Norte. Richard Campbell in Tauranga, New Zealand.
That was a pretty good roll of the R there.
Yeah, you knocked it out.
I'm still working on Tauranga.
Tauranga.
Yeah, I can't. I'm never going to do the rolling the R thing. I get people who like they like literally grab my face. And they try to, and I'm like, I can't. I don't have,
everything I know I learned from
it's not
Speedy
the right
Gonzalez.
Shape. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we went up to the beach in Whakatane, and Whakatane is spelled WH.
Okay.
It's like what?
Whakatane.
Yeah, WH is an F sound in Maori. So
that would be right at home in Pennsylvania where they don't pronounce anything correctly.
WHUCK, they're yelling, they're swearing at me. Is that right?
It could be, yeah. Whew. They don't say those sorts of things. They're nice.
They're nice. Have you ever done the nose thing?
I have not, no. But, when I living with a Maori here in the house. So
really?
She's good fun.
I love that. I think that's so cool.
Well, we watched the All Blacks on the weekend, too, which is very dramatic.
They get very serious about that.
They were playing Scotland and went out and lead early, and then the Scots tied it up, and they sneaked a try at the very end and won it. So it was a great game.
I mean, I find that pickleball is just about as exciting.
It's almost the same, really.
Yeah. I mean,
we're talking rugby.
Different strokes for different folks.
Real game. A real game.
Real game.
Or a
It's
women's game.
A real war. is
Becky
what it is.
Worley, who of course was a regular on our shows, was on Good Morning America, worked with me at Tech TV, was on the U.S. women's rugby team. She had multiple knee replacements.
I was going to say that explains why she's so aggressive.
Tough sport. It's a tough sport.
She's
you
a
know.
tough lady, man,
Yeah.
and gorgeous. She looks good doing it too. It's kind of very impressive. Anyway, on we go. Let's talk about Microsoft. What do you think?
How so strange.
Yeah. So dating back to the Mary Jo Foley years, been complaining about Microsoft's increasing lack of transparency with their earnings reports. It's come up some couple times lately.
Last week we talked about it.
Wall Street Journal is beating this to death. It's beautiful.
This is John Wheel, right? Like this.
Yeah.
He's decided this is a campaign for him.
Yep.
since
He's
he
like,
has to
this
do it.
is you're not meeting your legal requirements. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, thank you.
Wow.
Exactly right. Right. And he explains why. He's like, this is this thing, OpenAI, this investment has a material impact on your revenues, and you have to disclose that to current and potential investors. You have to. It's the law.
It's the law.
And they are not doing it. And he really spells it out pretty well. So he knows a lot more about this than I do, obviously. But anyway, smart. But separate from this, and amusingly, and I don't think this was the same reporter, but let me try to find it. No, different person. But the Wall Street Journal got a hold of internal documentation from OpenAI that says that their expectation is that they will lose more and more money every year, and that the furthest out they go is 2028, at which time they will be losing $74 billion a year.
Nice.
So
Ed Zitron has taken a
you think, yeah,
Taking a lap on this
now.
one? Yeah.
Oh my God. Jeez. He's been
Yeah.
saying this, but now
This bubble's not going to be around to 2028. Like clearly, the jig's going to be up before these guys' projections become.
just tell me when I should get out of the stock market.
it
Just
was
tell me
like
that.
6
That's
months
all.
ago.
Oh crap.
Well, isn't what's his name, the big short guy, just taking $1 billion short
I
position?
saw that. Yeah.
on Nvidia, and
And Masayoshi Son just sold SoftBank's entire $5.8 billion
In NVIDIA,
stake.
Yeah, I know. It's
NVIDIA.
crazy.
Well, that's
$5
a
trillion
sign.
is a lot.
That's a sign.
I assume he put it into like Hobby Lobby or some other big growth.
It's got to be hard, and I really feel for him when you have that much money to really find an investment.
Yeah, no, that way it must be terrible. I feel so bad. I put this in the notes because my wife brought this up, because we have these little businesses, right? And so like our Eternal Spring thing, we actually have to report like our revenues and everything. And the way this works is if you post a loss 3 years in a row, it's a hobby.
Right.
So, I mean, what the hell is OpenAI then? Like, what, I mean, like,
Multi-billion-dollar hobby.
yeah, I mean, like, what, like Apple TV used to be a hobby at Apple,
Yeah.
a hobby.
But
you know?
I would argue, I mean, how many years did Amazon lose money?
I don't know. I mean, forever, really.
A decade.
Right. So how come they can do it? Is it because they have investments or whatever? I mean, they can, I don't know.
As long as you're publicly traded, you can make anything up you want. I don't
know. Yeah.
In the end, like, why haven't shareholders held Microsoft to account? Well, it could be because they're just making lots of money. Like the stock keeps going up.
This is my everyone's complicit in this is, no one wants to be the guy I would be, because this would be me like back when
But
I
this
used
is
to work.
how Bernie Madoff got away with it for so flippin' long. He just
but
keeps
there's
telling
also-
you were making 10% on this. And then
Right,
one
right,
day it's
right.
like, well, you never were. Why would you believe that?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it helps if you're just like a liar, I guess. I mean, God help us if these people ever actually believe their own nonsense.
Yeah, what's the difference between a liar and shared delusion?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like the difference between the House of Representatives and the Congress. No, in the the Senate. It doesn't matter. Okay, so there's that. And then this is interesting to me. I just to kind of take this from the opposite angle. Mustafa Suleyman came to Microsoft about a year and a half ago, I think.
Right. He was supposed to do the consumer thing for.
Yep, and he is. He is running an organization called Microsoft AI.
Right.
And I didn't know anything about this guy. I mean, much like everyone else in this industry, frankly, whether it's the guy who co-founded and is now the CEO of Anthropic, or, all these people, I don't know any of them, and so Microsoft hires people like this, and, And I'm like, okay, I don't know. I don't know anything
They all
about
seem to come from a pretty small club. Like they all know each other.
Yeah. They all went to the same Mensa college or whatever. Like it's there's something. Yeah, these guys are all Google DeepMind backgrounds. That kind of stuff. But I have to say, in that I've been so critical of a lot of stuff Microsoft has done in this space specifically. I like this guy. The more he talks, the more I think his head's in the right place. And I don't think that about anyone else in this space, like maybe literally.
Well, and we sort of agreed with Satya that if they're going to do anything consumer, it should be totally separate. And that's what they offered. I just don't know that I've seen a product from them.
Right. So, I mean, his products, so to speak, are, there's the foundational model stuff they're working on, right? So they're doing that. And he's been very explicit. Like, our goal is to be independent. We're going to build these models so that they can, run everything. But how do I say this? Like, again, going into this knowing nothing about him, and if I'm being honest with myself, predisposed to think that anything this guy and anyone in this industry has to say is going to be complete nonsense. Mm-hmm. He, honestly, I think I referenced this maybe last week or 2 weeks ago. He did that video. I think it was tied to that Copilot announcement probably back in October, where he went back to his hometown and he just went around to different shops and talked to people. And look, yes, I know this thing was produced. It's, a big budget, probably, whatever, but it felt human and real. And I was like, okay. Like I didn't watch that and think, oh, this is gross. Like you see some of these videos where you're like, oh, geez, come on, man. But I was like, okay, this one, okay, cool. And he has just created, so Microsoft, we should just back up a little bit, sorry. Microsoft just redid their agreement yet again with OpenAI, right? Mm-hmm. OpenAI is restructuring, right? So they're going to have a nonprofit. Well, I guess they do already. I guess they've done it. They have a nonprofit parent company, and then they have the for-profit company.
They're now set up to IPO if they ever get an SEC back.
Yeah, and they're going to, because they insist every time it comes up they will never have an IPO, but of course they'll have to at some point. But part of the clarity that came out of that, because there was a little bit of clarity, was that we had previously learned that Microsoft and OpenAI, for purposes of their the partnership contract agreement, had defined AGI as something that has nothing to do with science, right? It was literally at the point where OpenAI crossed some revenue figure, which has nothing to do with the quality of the service or the models or whatever. So now they've said, actually, there is going to be a standard for this. We're going to have an independent third party come in. And if OpenAI says, look, we've done it, we've hit AGI, which you should know because the satellites will destroy the Earth. This party, the third party, will verify that or not. And if they do, that's when the relationship changes, right? And so we'll see what happens if that ever happens. Mm-hmm. But Suleiman has repositioned this and I think has given some insight into how Microsoft views AGI, artificial general intelligence, right? So this is the point at which AI can match human performance at all things, pretty much, right? There are people who believe very strongly we're on the cusp of this. Maybe it's already happened. There are people who think this can never happen. OpenAI is very clearly on the positive end of this. They believe it's real and it's going to happen.
It's been their primary recruiting tactic, so of course they have to.
The entire mantra of this company, really. And Suleiman's basically saying, we're missing the point here. This isn't really a thing. And what he wants to do is create something that he calls superintelligence, which is not really a new term in the scope of AI, but it's essentially AGI, but without the we are going to replace humans bit, right? The idea is that AI should always be a helper for humans. It should advance our goals. And that part of that requires constant vigilance to ensure that the AIs we're creating are made in that mode. In other words, very much like an Asimov, the robot,
3 laws of robotics.
Rules of robotics, yeah. He doesn't say that, but he should have. I would have appreciated that. But it's a touchy-feely kind of a thing.
I'm always concerned when you equate anything with science fiction, right? Like,
of course. I mean, I know, but look, science fiction predicted lots of things, like submarines, bombs, whatever. But I mean, to be clear, we're talking about the book, not the Will Smith movie. Anyway, it would be very easy to look at this post where he talks about the creation of a team that will be looking to create superintelligence and AI, what he calls humanist superintelligence, as being kind of marketing drivel and kind of touchy-feely, whatever. But you know what? It really tracks with what I see in this guy so far in the couple of times he's been, out in public talking. And I get the vibe from this guy, which again, completely different from the rest of the industry, that he is sincere. He's one of the smart guys in the room. He's one of those guys, like you said, he's part of that Star Chamber thing, mostly from Google DeepMind originally, right? And he had his own AI startups after that as well, and then came to Microsoft, et cetera. But I feel like maybe alone in that whole group. Like I think he's in the right frame of mind. So we'll see what comes of this.
Saying the right thing.
Yes, it could just be really good marketing, but it's Microsoft, and they don't do good marketing. So
because there's been a lot of argument around this idea that the whole making the model bigger isn't working anymore. And that it wasn't that actually good an idea, and that you narrow the scope to specific capabilities so you get more precise results. And what you really want is an orchestrator across an array of smaller models.
Yep. Some of which are local, some of which are,
but also that comprehend a large enough set of data for you to call it a super intelligence, right? Like this is just about what data sets are available to you through this orchestrator. And that is a useful tool, right? Like right off the bat, let's strip out the science fiction that somehow amorphously, in a counter to everything that entropy teaches us, that an intelligence emerges out of this pile of electrons, and that it has intent. We've never had any software that has intent.
That's right.
It's right. It's just a bit silly, really. But again, it's been steeped in science fiction. You've watched too much Ultron.
First of all, you can never watch too much Ultron. I don't know what that. I don't even know what you mean by that.
But I'm not going to disagree that James Spader was the ultimate voice and laid that such a phenomenal character of a movie.
Okay.
Yes.
You guys are such nerds.
Yeah. At least Suleiman's saying what is the practical thing, which is these are automation tools for increasing productivity of people.
I have to tell you the nerdiest thing I've ever done, and I did it knowing it was going to be the nerdiest thing I ever did, which is we're in a bar a week and a half ago, whatever, talking to this woman we know really well there. It was quiet, so we had a lot of time, and my wife said, "Oh, what's that brooch you have?" It was like a leaf thing, and I said, "Oh, I know exactly what that is, but there's no way you're nerdy enough to have bought it." She's like, "What do you mean by that?" And I'm like, That's the Lothlorien leaf that the Lembas was wrapped in the Lord of the Rings." And her eyes were like, she goes, "That's exactly what it is." And she's like, why didn't you think I was that nerdy? I'm like, well, now I do. Jeez. And then we spent the next 30 minutes talking about the Lord of the Rings. And my wife's over there going, Jesus, what have I done? Like, it's like, what happened? She's like complimenting this woman on jewelry, and it turned into the nerdiest thing that's ever happened.
Well, you tell her you co-host a show with a guy who lives near Hobbiton, and it's going to be all over.
Just down the road.
I was like, she said something like, your Lord of the Rings or whatever. And I'm like, no, my Lord of the Rings. I'm a Tolkien scholar. Like, what are you talking about? It's actually the thing I know the most about. Anyway. Okay.
Here's what I know. It's $120 a head to go into Hobbiton.
What?
Yeah, I would pay that.
They're
who owns
banking. I don't know.
It's not Weta. It's not.
Well, they left it there on purpose. I mean,
yep.
Somebody probably bought it.
Yeah, has built a business around it.
Now I'm going to make it an amusement park.
Apparently, we can book a private tour to our own design, starting at $3,000. So if you want to put a package together, we could have an experience.
A bunch of the character actors that were the hobbits are still there in character, like the guy who makes the face every time the younger people do anything. Like they're all just there being themselves.
Wow. Yeah. We will be talking about AI, of course, in the next show on this network, Intelligent Machines. And I'm really thrilled that our guest is, and a guy I'm sure you both know, is Kevin Kelly, who was one of the founders of Wired. He was one of the founders of The Well. And he's got a whole thing called, for AI, he thinks of it the future. He's an optimist about AI.
Okay, I was curious. I was when you think about people who've been in the industry a long time and have a good perspective, like the kind of
he really does. I mean, he's been there since.
Well, like him, okay. I'm curious. Like, you want to hear from those guys?
Yeah,
I'm curious.
I can't wait to talk to him. We're really excited about this, and he has some I think kind of different opinions about AI, but he's very positive about it. He thinks of it, though, he says, don't think of it as human intelligence. Think of it as an alien intelligence, which will be useful for our human
I'm just finding it's a productivity tool. It's,
yes,
you know
exactly.
It's a reentrant code generator when you use it for development. And
it's like a spell checker that you can ask about the lump on your neck. You know, it's like a weird...
But don't trust what it tells you.
It's like, oh, man, I would just put something over that. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Kevin wrote the book 15 years ago, What Technology Wants. And he was pretty prescient then. I think it'll be very interesting. Anyway, that's coming up right after Windows Weekly. I just wanted to mention that. Should we take a break now? Or
Sure.
what would work for you, my friend?
Well, thank you for asking, Leo. I don't care. This is fine.
Let's do it now. It's a good time to do it, and we'll continue on. You're watching Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott from Thurrott.com and leanpub.com, where his books live, and of course Richard Campbell of .NET Rocks and RunAs Radio fame. Our show today brought to you by our friends at OutSystems. Speaking of AI, this is brilliant. They are the number one AI-powered low-code development platform. They've been doing this longer than anybody. Organizations all over the world are creating custom apps, as you were just talking about, Richard, and AI agents on the OutSystems platform with good reason, because OutSystems is all about outcomes, helping teams quickly deploy apps and AI agents and deliver results. And man, if you go to the website, you will see the success stories there. They're endless. They helped a top U.S. bank, a name you would know, deploy an app for customers to open new accounts on any device. It was huge success, 75% faster onboarding times. They helped one of the world's largest brewers deploy a solution to automate tasks and clear bottlenecks, which delivered a savings of about 1 million development hours. They even helped a global insurer accelerate development of a portal and app for their employees, which delivered a 360-degree view of customers and a way for insurance agencies to grow policy sales. The OutSystems platform, it's truly a game changer for development teams. With AI-powered low-code, it's a perfect match, right? Teams can build custom, future-proof applications and AI agents at the speed of buying with fully automated architecture, security integrations, data flows, and permissions all built right in. It really solves the buy versus build conundrum. You can do it as easily as buying, as quickly as buying, but you get a custom solution and you don't have to worry about security and integrations because all of that's built in. All of that just comes with OutSystems. With OutSystems, it's so easy to create your own purpose-built apps and agents. There's really no need to consider off-the-shelf software solutions ever again. This is the last solution you'll ever buy. OutSystems, number one AI-powered low-code development platform. Learn more at outsystems.com/twit. That's outsystems.com/twit. This is, to my mind, this is exactly the marriage you want. It's not vibe coding. It's AI-supported low-code. It's chef's kiss. It's perfect. Outsystems.com/twit. We thank them so much for their support of Windows Weekly.
So as we speak here on Wednesday, we're at the midway point of .NET Conf 2025. This is the 3-day Microsoft conference for .NET. They launched .NET 10 on Tuesday, yesterday, but also Visual Studio 2026, which has some really cool changes. So I've been using the Insiders version. They used to, I can't remember the language they used before, but
the Insider edition of 2026.
Yeah. So they've, this is a much better application than the previous version. They made some real nice, kind of foundational changes to it. So, if anyone who's used Visual Studio knows, I'm sure, you click, compile or whatever, or debug or whatever it is, and, the thing hangs. It just hangs.
It's a bit of a battleship.
Everything was running on the same UI thread, basically. So now it doesn't do that. It's actually much more performant. It's also better looking. It's got a nice Swin UI kind of user interface now, color themes and stuff, which I don't really use. But it's definitely better. But the bigger change maybe, that's a big change. But as big maybe, is they're going to change the way that they update Visual Studio going forward. And they're actually going to follow the Visual Studio code model. That app is updated every month. And so I believe it's the first day of the month they release the an update named after the previous month, right? So November 1, you get the October 2025, Visual Studio Code update, whatever.
And they were doing quarterly updates to Studio. Like it was getting a lot of updates.
Oh,
if you were keeping up with them.
There is only one app that gets up. No, that's not true. All right. Well, there's one major app that gets updated more than Visual Studio, and I am absolutely going to discuss that later in the show. It drives me insane. But Visual Studio, yes, a lot of times I will use it and it will say, "Oh, there's an update. Do you want to install it now, or do you want to install it like when you close the app?" You're like, "Oh, God, all right, I'll just do it when I close the app." And then, you think you're done, and of course the installer app comes up and it does this thing. It's like, geez, like it. So now we're going to do this every month. Maybe there'll be smaller updates. I don't know.
Yeah.
So .NET 10's out. .NET 10 has updates across the stack. Of course, the big one always is performance. It's always double-digit performance somehow.
Stephen Taub is a genius, but you know this is really a byproduct of them using .NET inside of Azure, where performance equals money.
Exactly, and
they are
that guy every year writes it. Yeah, he writes a book.
Tome.
Right?
Yeah.
And I watched several hours of this event yesterday, including his talk, and he did a neat demonstration of this. It's literally like here's an app. It's running on what do you call it? .NET Framework 4.8, whatever. Mm-hmm. Here's the benchmark, and then here it is running on 9. .NET 9. Yeah. And then here it is on 10, and it's like it wasn't as big of a jump from 9 to 10 as it was from 4.8 to 9, but it was double digit. It's really impressive.
Substantial. Yeah. And that was true 8 to 9 as well. Like they've just been consistent. They've even done case studies of Microsoft internal products getting significant performance boosts just by switching framework versions.
One of the big problems for Microsoft, honestly, with .NET, as it was originally envisioned, like the pre.NET Core .NET, I guess, if that makes sense, was that adoption internally was really low. I mean, there was a point where the Vista team was like, "We're not shipping any .NET in this product. Like, we're not doing that." Yeah. And now, and I think it was Scott Hanselman, but one of the presenters, it might have been Steven. It was one of the guys, but they brought up like, here's all the places we're using it, and then here are the benefits we saw. And actually, one of the biggest benefits was also to Bing, right? Which is one of the things you might not think about too much, but same idea as Azure. It's like this cloud or a planet scale cloud service, whatever. Every percentage point matters, and it's depending on the complexity of your app. I assume Bing is slightly more complex than the Notepad app that I write, but for a lot of people, not all people, absolutely. I mean, people have problems, but they have upgrade assist, like I think it's just called an upgrade assistant wizard or whatever. But you can often just go into Visual Studio and say, it's using .NET 9 now, use .NET 10, and then recompile, and it's just, you're pretty much good to go.
Yeah.
I mean, so they've done something really good there.
Yeah.
Where they haven't done something good is not .NET, but is the Windows App SDK, which is a steaming pile of terribleness. And this past year, I've been trying to work, my app out to build it out to support multiple tabs, et cetera. I basically figured out there's no good way to do it with WPF because those controls are antiquated and
they haven't gotten the same level of love.
Oh, they're just not the modern. If you want something to look like modern apps in Windows look like the ones that Microsoft makes, you have to pretty much use, not always, but you pretty much have to use the Windows App SDK. It's terrible. Mm-hmm. And I've been approached several times by Uno Platform. So Uno Platform is one of the many kind of .NET adjacent companies. They're actually partnering with .NET on a bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. Like Avalon's another one where
Avalonia.
Avalonia. What did I say? Avalon. Sorry. Avalon.
Yeah. Avalon was the code name for WPF.
For WPF. Yep. Where there's this kind of feeling that Microsoft landed on something really special with WPF. Like, I wish I could go back in time and understand it 20 years ago the way I do now. But it must have seemed like technology handed down by aliens. Like, it's amazing. And so a lot of these companies, as Microsoft has moved off of that and tried to do the Metro thing, and then the Windows runtime from Windows 8, and then what became the universal Windows platform in Windows 10, and then what became, the Windows App SDK today, is like, but this other thing is actually kind of perfect. Why don't we just keep doing that? And so Uno Platform is one of a few, and probably the biggest and best maybe of the kind of third-party WPF alternatives, but open source and cross-platform, right? And so they've been. I met with them at Build, and they were like, "Hey, look, just give us your GitHub repository address, and we'll put like a junior engineer on it." Because I was having all these struggles, with this thing, and I was like, "Oh no, I appreciate." I felt weird about that, right? Mm-hmm. And then they just reached out to me, and they're like, "Hey, we got this big announcement coming on at .NET Conf. We have to talk to you before Monday." And I was going to Oaxaca that day. We were delayed 2 hours. So literally the second I got to the hotel room, I opened a laptop and met with these three guys. And what they showed me was my app, which they used this AI bit in. So it has an AI agent and these MCPs built into the 2.0 version of the Uno Platform Studio, which is their integrated IDE that does the visual designer stuff that Microsoft doesn't do, by the way.
Yeah.
Among other things, and hot reload, but also hot design, really powerful and excellent. And they wrote a prompt that said, just basically modernize this thing and make it run on all the platforms that we support, which is like Linux, WebAssembly, Mac, Android, whatever. Mm-hmm. And they showed me a video of it, and it's like it took it 3 minutes to make this. And I was like, my whole life is a waste of time. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore, but it's beautiful. So you'll be able to see this demo for yourself tomorrow. One of the guys from Uno Platform is presenting tomorrow at .NET Conf. It's Community Day is the third day. So you'll be able to see this for yourself. And I was just like, I can't believe I have any hair left. I can't even tell you like how hard this has been for me. And like, it's like, you just did it in 3 minutes. Okay. It's like, that's nice. So anyway, that's
how come you're not at .NET Conf?
It's virtual. I can't.
It's all virtual.
It's
oh, so you can.
Yeah, I've been watching it. I've been watching
while you're
it,
milking the cows. You can.
Yeah. Well,
no, I mean, if I was in town, if I was home, I would be a host. I would take a 4-hour block at the studio, which I've done before.
Because this is your bailiwick. I mean, this is your thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love doing that. It's so much fun to work with those guys. It's really a ton of fun. But hey, your grandbaby's only this size.
Yes.
Once, right? So
I'm so proud of you. That's really true. This is what counts. This is
we're having such a good time. She's going to come back a toddler. She's learning to crawl like right now. So it's happening.
How do you compare Uno Platform to something like Visual Studio? Is it?
It's the UI layer, right? Like they approach the way to do UI really openly.
So you still use it with?
Well, there's
Visual
a tool
Studio.
that is. Yeah. Well, you could, but they have their own tool, which is like a Visual Studio equivalent.
But you do the design first
there's Uno Platform, and then the Platform Studio is the code. Code design editor.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is their new tool. Like they're showing one of the better integrations of using LLMs as part of your coding process for.
Oh, it's AI based too.
Yeah, it's really powerful. And it's Jerome that's doing the demo. And he's the CTO. That guy's great, man. It'll look fantastic.
So you liken it, Paul, to your old friend Delphi. Is it in terms of ease of use or?
I mean, it's such a different era. These things are kind of hard to equate to. What I would say is, when we had Visual Basic back in the day, right? And that evolved. And then we had Visual Studio. They integrated that kind of underlying visual editor into Visual Studio. We had Windows Forms, and that was like the last one. It was kind of like a pixel perfect designer. Like you could just like drag a control and move it around on a form, that kind of thing. The problem is we have, even when at the time it came out, we have resolution independent displays, or you can scale displays, and we have big displays with giant resolution, but like this app would look like really tiny, et cetera. So, when they moved to WPF, they addressed that, and it works great, but you can't. They've never successfully made a visual designer that works really well with it. They did that. What was it called? Expression or whatever that visual. They had a visual. They briefly had something, but it just never happened. So I think people who write in whatever WPF or newer, whatever it is, they're writing XAML by hand for the most part. I would imagine.
Oh my God!
Which I don't actually mind. I feel like a lot of these people would just be used to that and just they don't care. It's fine, but
it's just the way that it is.
Yeah. But these guys figured it out. That was one of the big things. And so hot reload is a feature where you don't have to stop an app that's running. You can change the
Isn't that
code
nice?
and just this is the best.
That's
so
how it should be.
Visual Studio does it. Code does it.
It's a feature of the .NET framework. So anything that runs .NET can do
But
that.
they also added the notion of what they call hot design. So it's not just the code. It's like you can change the visual design.
Yeah. And
In the
re-render on
environment,
the
and
fly.
it changes it live as it's running. It speeds the process up dramatically. It's really nice.
There's a great story on folklore.org about the early days of the Macintosh, where Steve Jobs, Chris Espinosa, who's still at Apple, by the way, the longest Apple
which is
employee.
incredible. He's got to be like 70 years old now.
He started when he was 14. Anyway,
Yeah.
he was tasked with designing the calculator, the desk accessory calculator for the first Macintosh. And Steve would look at it and say, no, I don't like it. You got to fix the buttons. And after 4 or 5 times of Steve going, no, that's not it. No.
He's like,
He said, okay.
you do it.
He designed basically what this is, a UI designer with sliders and menus. And said, Steve.
Yeah, like it was the
You do
Visual
it.
Basic type of thing.
Yeah.
Like where it's like,
I think that must be the first visual design tool, because before the Mac, everything was command line anyway, right? This has got to be the first one.
Yeah, I mean, HyperCAD came later. I guess,
yeah,
right?
no, but in
so-
fact, HyperCard used the same idea.
Yeah. And then, of course, what became Visual Basic, which was, what's this guy's name? Cooper.
Alan Cooper.
Alan Cooper, who lives just down the road.
Another genius.
Thunderforms.
He's great. I love Alan. He's quite an iconoclast. I've hung out with him a little bit because he lives in the area. But see, I think that's really cool. I mean, so here we are, 1983, 82.
Right.
And because Steve Jobs is such a PETA, Chris says, fine, you do it. By the way, Jobs, in 10 minutes, got it just where he wanted it. And that's the calculator they
So
showed.
the original Mac was something like 512 by 384 or whatever the screen was, black and white.
1K. Yeah.
Easy, So it's simple to target like a UI for something that is static, and small, low resolution. But over time, one of the things I distinctly remember in the build up to Longhorn the build up to what became Vista, I guess, was they would, you'd go to like a WinHacker or whatever, and they would show off like apps you could kind of stretch out to make them bigger in real time. So they would look better on a high resolution or high DPI display, which no one normal had at the time. And we were like, oh my God, that's incredible, and they don't really, to this day, you still don't do that. Like we don't have this notion of, I want this app to be this size and I want this one to be, you don't really do that. But that was what they were showing, because it was just showing off the capability basically. But that really put the wrench into the flywheel, because once you can have an arbitrary screen resolution, DPI, whatever it is, I mean, you can't do a pixel visual editor anymore. You can't. It's just impossible. They tried.
Makes it very difficult, without a doubt.
Yeah. Well, right. Nothing. I guess nothing.
Well, and one would argue, Visual Basic's form editor was the anomaly. We haven't been able to do this on the HTML side either, right? It's just not that simple.
Yep.
So
and Microsoft tried and failed with that.
We tried with lots of other different environments, and creating visual designers is stunningly difficult. And so you have this one weird reference point that everybody wants to go back to, and it's like,
can we just have Visual Basic again? It's like, you can.
Well, you can, except you forget
SVGA is the top resolution.
Yeah. Well,
it's
and
gonna
also
be on
the
a 15
constraints that
inch,
you're working in, right? It was a multiple document interface design with a file over here and a help over there. Like, it's archaic. We don't make sites like that anymore. We don't make apps like that anymore.
Yeah, that was early on, before we had MSN or whatever. There was the Blackbird tool, Internet Studio, and then they did InterDev, which brought it back to it was just code. Visual InterDev was code. There was no real. I mean,
They tried.
They had the HTML. There was an HTML ActiveX control. I don't remember what it was called, but instead of, you would have an ActiveX control, and on that surface you could put UI.
Yeah.
But it would only run in IE, and it was ridiculous.
Well, it was a workaround for an actual dynamic user interface. So,
yep.
We've had this battle over and over again. You want a pixel perfect, you have to live within constraints of the viewport. If you want flexibility, you have to deal with not pixel perfect.
Right. Yep. I feel like, well, like I said, I don't mind writing the XAML code, but I just mind how much of it there is.
Yeah.
But
it is verbose.
It is unbelievably long. Like, yeah. It's like you put up a UI and it's like,
The guys have done such a good job of bundling that up for you, so you don't have to look at it.
Reminds me of the early days of podcasting when I was hand writing the RSS feed for the shows in XML, right?
Right.
I don't know what XAML looks like, but I can imagine. It's not
let's
code,
think about,
right? It's
you think about too much XML and you're right there.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Way.
XML was definitely my point. Like as a pseudo developer, I was like, yeah, I give up. I'm just not doing this. I can't. I just don't.
It makes sense, but it is a pain to do by hand. I mean, it's a little bit. It's like HTML times 10.
Yeah, it's just proof that not everything Tim Berners-Lee does is perfect.
Wow.
But it wasn't. I think he never thought humans would see it. He always said
he
that.
actually described it as a human readable markup language.
Oh, he did.
That's how he described it.
Sorry.
This is, Microsoft has these various tools. We can dump something into XML, and for that purpose, it's human readable. Then you open it, you're like, what is this thing? Yeah. It's like, it's like, I don't know what human could read this, but it's not this human. Anyway. Yeah.
He said, I remember interviewing him, and he said, I never thought the URL scheme would be visible to humans. I thought machines would just handle that. Yeah. But it's kind of ironic that he thought that humans would want to read XML.
We said there's probably still people who are like HTTPS /
For the longest
like actually
time,
type the whole thing out,
For Tech TV, they would do that. They would say https://www.google.com. Actually, it wasn't Google. That wasn't around then. Yahoo.com.
Alta Vista or something.
Yeah. And I said to them, you don't have to type that.
Yeah.
And they said, what? Really? So we took that off, but they were still typing putting www.yahoo.com. And I said, you probably don't have to type that either. Just say yahoo.com.
Yeah. Right. Isn't that nicer?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't until the last, 10 years or less where browsers just start to hide that stuff by default. It's like, we're just going to give you a simplified version of the UI.
I actually turned that off. I always want to see the full.
No, I do too. But I mean, I think that's a risk. Imagine they probably did it on phone first because of the space limitations.
Right.
And then someone was like, this would be good for normal people on like a computer. Like no one needs to see this. But actually, I agree with you. I don't turn it on either.
Yeah, because that's how you know that you're not going to a fraudulent site, among other things. You have to see the whole thing. Yep. Okay. I've lost track of what's going on.
Well, we're done with the dev bit. I think
you're done with dev?
I've ranted enough.
Can I show you my new Aura ink? And then
you can. I was telling my wife about it. I'm really excited about this.
Yeah. This is cool. This is our sponsor for this segment of Windows Weekly. You know the name Aura. I know you do because consistently they're picked as the #1 digital frame company. But now they have something new. Imagine if, you've got, first of all, I love having family photos on the walls. One of the things we like to do is going up the stairs. You have the photos as you go up the stairs. In the living room, you have the best photos. But wouldn't it be nice if those photos could be updated? Like I've been looking at the same picture for 5 years. Wouldn't it be nice if you could change them every day? Let me show you. This is it. And it's so cool. You can with the Aura ink. This is Aura's, AURA's all new cordless. Look at no wires, kids. All new cordless color e-paper frame. Let me give you a nice close-up look. This is a picture I took at Herald Square in New York City of old Horace Greeley with the pigeons all over him and the beautiful modern skyscrapers behind him. It's one of my favorite photos, but this just came up this morning, right? Meet Ink, Aura's first ever cordless color e-paper frame, featuring a sleek 0.6-inch profile and a softly lit 13.3-inch display. Ink feels like a print, but it functions like a digital frame and perhaps most importantly, lives completely untethered by cords with a rechargeable battery, lasts up to 3 months on a single charge, unlimited storage, and the ability to invite others to add photos via the Aura Frames app. It is the cordless wall-hanging frame you've been waiting for. And this would be a great gift for the holidays. I can't wait to send one to my mom. She loves the digital frame, but it has to be plugged in and it's emittive, right? It's a screen. It's just another screen. And I don't think anybody wants another screen, especially hanging on the wall. This is e-ink. It's e-paper, so it's reflective. It's just like a photo. They have put a lot of work into this. This is Aura has really done some interesting work with this. It's kind of a breakthrough in e-paper technology. Ink, that's the frame, transforms millions of tiny ink capsules into your favorite photos. It renders them in beautiful vintage tones. I mean, this is something I'm proud to have hanging on the wall. It's hard to see here because there's so much light, but even with all the light in the studio, if I can get the reflections off, you could see that it's beautiful. It holds up in all kinds of light. But to save battery, when nobody's around, when it's dark at night, it turns off. There's a lot of innovation, a lot of design in this. This bezel looks like a real frame. It's graphite inspired. The mat is paper textured. The glossy glass front makes it, look like a piece of decor, not another screen in your house, not a device. I love the app. The Aura app has always been best in class. Unlimited free photos. You can download the app. You connect it to Wi-Fi. You give this to somebody like a grandparent, like my mom, and I can now send her photos that automatically show up. It's a perfect gift for anyone who appreciates innovative design and cutting-edge technology. There are a lot of little touches that I really like. This can be landscape or portrait. You choose, and you can hang it, of course, but they also comes with this really nice magnetic metal stand that attaches super easily, doesn't fall off. Oh, I'm putting it upside down. Super easily, doesn't fall off. And so you can also put it on your desk or on your dresser, on your bedside table with a stand in either portrait or landscape. It just looks great. Sleek, subtle, and stunning. Ink blends the warmth of a printed photo with the versatility of an e-paper frame. No cords, no fuss. Just your memories beautifully displayed wherever you want them. Head to auraframes.com/ink to see for yourself. Support the show, by the way. Mention us. Say, I saw it on Windows Weekly at checkout. That'll help us a lot. That's auraframes.com/ink. AURA frames.com/ink. There's buttons on the top. You can change it manually. You can actually have the photo change every other hour if you want. I like it overnight. Because that saves battery. The more you change it, the more it's going to use battery. Like I said, I haven't run out, and I have been doing a lot of manual changing. But the other reason I like it overnight is I wake up in the morning and I have a new picture from our, thousands of pictures. So it's always kind of a fun surprise. This is an AI generated image of me playing chess. It's just finishing up the page turn. There it is. I think it really does a nice job. I really like that. auraframes.com/ink. Keep it right here on my desk. And we've got lots of family photos in it. And I hope my mom's not listening. It's going to be a great gift for the holidays. auraframes.com/ink. Xbox time, Mr. T.
I feel like it's a pretty good bet that your mother's not listening.
I think you're right.
Just going to throw that out there.
Are you on now? You know how we know? Because she calls me during the show all the time.
Right, yeah.
Is that the right guy going to talk about AI again?
He loves the AI. He loves it. He just loves it. I've switched this to the portrait mode, which it does automatically.
Yeah, that's so good.
I think that's kind of nice too if you have the right. If you take a lot of portrait mode pictures, that hang that on the wall like that.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Drool worthy. Xbox. I was thinking of sending mom an Xbox for Christmas. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know.
Actually, you know what she wants? A Steam machine.
Right. So this was just announced as I sat down to do the show, so I don't know too much about it. But Valve has announced a new Steam machine, which is a cube-shaped Xbox Series X looking.
Am I wrong? Didn't they have a Steam?
They did, yeah.
Machine. We're not talking the Steam Deck, the handheld. They had that one console, right?
That's right.
Wait a minute. Does it come with VR helmet too?
No, that's going to be an optional thing they're going to do. So. Also, by the way, working with AMD as are Sony and Microsoft on a custom chipset for this thing, which is, x64, obviously.
Will it run Linux or Windows?
Well, it's going to be Linux, right? It will be the version the Steam OS, right? Which is
they have a really nice OS,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
So this thing is, I think the billing is like 6 times as fast as the Steam Deck. It's like, yeah, so's my grandmother's carriage, but whatever. But this will give you, look, in our space in Xbox, we're debating whether Microsoft should be doing what they're doing. I think they're on the right path. I know that Windows today is not necessarily ideal on a dedicated gaming machine, but I feel like they can get it there. I mean, that's basically what an Xbox is anyway, really, when you think about it. But, this is also, it's a PC essentially, right? I mean,
the thing I like about it is it's really good for gaming on Linux. The Steam Deck was too, because developers want their game to run on a Steam Deck, and they'll want it to run on a Steam machine.
And then now you just get it, like it's starting to, they, I don't remember the number, but I think it was 80% plus games like are supposed to run great on Linux. My experience has not been great, but I've been using Zorin OS recently on maybe a non-optimal laptop as far as gaming is concerned, but it, whatever. Anyway, it does work. I mean, it's just not, same frame rates or whatever, but this will probably be pretty good. And, you see this thing and you're like, okay. So, they have a controller, obviously, the box. Okay. And then they're doing like the VR headset thing. And it's like, okay. It's like all the stuff Microsoft can't do. Make new hardware and then get people excited about it, So we'll see what happens here. But I'm kind of
We
surprised.
don't know pricing. We don't know availability. There's a lot
I don't know.
of questions.
I don't personally know anything about it. I mean, they announced it in a tweet and then there's a video, I think, on YouTube.
I'm running the video right now. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was reading the article. So I think I'm sure it'll be pretty good.
Huh.
Oh, now they do have a.
Well, anything that drives more business into Steam itself, right?
Yep.
Do you think that this is a precursor to dumping Windows entirely? No. They need the Windows business, right?
There's no reason. So.
Why throw away customers?
Right. When I think of like what Microsoft is doing with Xbox right now, the way that what goes through my brain is they're going to have to adapt Xbox as a platform so that developers are essentially required to ship games that will work on a dedicated console, a handheld gaming device, or just a PC. Which is not a hard sell. I mean, it's just but you're basically making it the same thing. And I think if you look at it from Steam/Valve's perspective, they're going to want you to target both, right? I mean, because I'm not sure actually, but I assume that some large percentage, like majority percentage of their sales is still from like Windows PCs, right? But but bringing more and more of it in house makes some sense, right? I mean, I don't know. It's this is also in a sense a comparatively small enough business that they can do something like this and it makes sense. Like one of the problems, we keep talking about with Microsoft is this whole $1 billion thing. And it's like, I'm sure the financial people at Microsoft look at what Xbox wants to do with hardware and they're like, explain to us when you made a profit on hardware again, because, they just, they're nervous about it. I'm a little surprised there isn't an upgraded Steam Deck to kind of accompany this, but
It might come later too. Do you see how this thing takes off, and do they need the horsepower?
I just feel like it's sat still for a while.
Yeah, but these guys don't need to make money off this hardware. If it pays for itself, everybody who uses this becomes a Steam customer. And let's face it, who's got a better collection of emails of gamers than Steam?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, the thing is, like,
they're playing cooperative.
I have a lot of games in Steam. I actually don't really like Steam as an app. Like, it's pretty terrible. It's like malware. It's always running in the background. It's,
and it's always trying to sell you something, right? It's not just being your library.
It's always a big, stupid announcement and a non-standard window popping up in the middle of the screen.
Yeah.
But whatever. So my opinion is whatever it is, who cares? But super popular, right? I mean, this is obviously the big platform on PCs. So
you kind of don't want to buy a game that isn't on Steam because Steam takes care of that for you.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. So, anyway.
It says,
I would argue it's the natural monopoly.
You can't install another operating system on it.
Yeah, because people can do that
Windows on it.
Yeah, and you can do that on a Steam Deck, right? You can install Windows.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, look, from their perspective, whatever, you're still playing our games, who cares?
Yeah, she's a streamer. She's got her, Stream Deck in front of her. She's probably running OBS.
Right.
Because you can install apps on it too.
Yeah. There you go.
It's interesting.
Yep.
Boy, it says great for streaming.
So I just want to, collectively watch the industry rally around this, talk about what geniuses they are, and just remind everyone Xbox is doing the same thing, and you think they're idiots. They're doing exactly the same thing.
Right.
But it's whatever. It's fine.
So consoles aren't dead.
Well,
They might be pining for the fjords.
yeah, I feel like consoles have hit their natural plateau, maybe is the way to say it. Although we're about to talk about another console.
This only has
going
16
gangbusters.
gigs of RAM.
Yeah, that's interesting. But I think I bet you can upgrade it,
Maybe, yeah.
I would be surprised if you couldn't. But I mean, I know you can upgrade the SSDs. Like there's 2 slots.
It's a Zen 4 chip.
Yep.
It's using their RDNA 3 custom GPUs.
So
8
Zen
gigs of
4 is
VRAM.
not the current generation,
No,
by the way.
it's not the high end.
If you look
Speaks
at
to
the
reducing the price.
the Legion Go 2 that I'm reviewing is a Zen 5 based, whatever that's called, like a Z2 chip or whatever, Z2 Extreme. So it's probably, I'm sure it's better in some ways, and I'm sure it's maybe even more efficient in some ways. But this is probably just, broadly compatible. I don't know what they're targeting. I wonder if this isn't a 1080p pretty much experience, for the most part, maybe on a modern game. But
What's the price when this thing's a slam dunk? Is it $200?
Yeah.
well,
Right.
$200 would be an absolute slam dunk.
Yeah.
But do you think how could they ever get that low?
If
They
don't think they can get that
undercut
low.
the PlayStation 5 by $50, right?
$400.
Yeah.
Well, PlayStation 5 is very expensive. Right? I mean,
But that's the competition.
yeah. I mean, I feel like the PlayStation is probably a lot more powerful, frankly. I mean,
Yeah, they're not trying to. You're saying they're not trying to compete with it.
I don't think so. I mean, I'm not sure how many people would be like PlayStation 5, Steam, something, but I don't know. This is like I said, this is what Microsoft's trying to do. We want to turn a Windows PC into an appliance.
That was an inadvertent rim shot. I wasn't commenting.
I was like, I didn't say anything funny.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. No, it's okay. I expect random sound effects at any time. It's perfectly fine. There it is.
All right, here we go.
Yep. Oh, it's just
Don't
like I'm in
encourage
Mexico again. Oh, wait, here I am. Yeah.
Oh, I do want a recording of the Gas Man so I can play it. That would be fun to have on my Steam Deck.
Oh,
Stream Deck.
that would be easy. It's probably going by right now. Anyhow, okay. So there's that. That just happened. So I still need to wrap my head around it. But yeah, there's no pricing yet. It's wish list stuff. Is this going to happen before the holidays? I mean, it's already.
They say next year, don't they? I mean,
Oh, is it next year? Okay,
I
so
think
I
they
don't
say
know. Yeah,
that.
I haven't had a chance. I haven't had a chance to really digest this yet. But that happened.
HDMI 2.0, so and DisplayPort 1.4. So presumably it could run 4K. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
but
it has
those two are not the latest, specs of those things, right? I mean, that's fine. I mean, this is not like an OG Switch level thing, but
right.
The Steam Deck has done well with, kind of lower than average specs, I would say, and it's kind of sat still for a long time too, which is a little weird to me, but this is all, I mean, like you said, it can run other things, but most people are probably just going to run the game, in which case it's probably fine. And Linux has fewer resource requirements than Windows right now, so that should be okay.
The VR play is interesting too.
Yep.
I'm kind of surprised to see that.
A friend of mine that I know is involved in the space, I said, like, well, so what about this thing? He says, oh, you mean the Gabe Cube? And I'm like,
The Gabe Cube.
The best name ever.
Gabe called
Newell,
from
of
his
course.
super yacht. He's like, make a box.
Make a box. Make a Gabe Cube.
I got a TV with nothing attached to it. Let's go.
Do you think will they offer TV capabilities? They don't have a pass-through, so I guess not.
I think that I look at this as like a kind of
There's no
a
reason
pure
you
play
can't-
console, right? Like,
Yeah. There's no reason it couldn't run a Netflix client, of course. But,
Yeah, but this is the thing. Like, so whether it's Windows as that evolves or Linux in this case, like Yeah, you can run the apps. You can bring up a terminal. You can run apt-get, and you can do all that stuff. But I think most people are going to just run the stuff. You know, like
That's
they have
the
these
whole
big
point of a
Steam
console.
collections. Steam has spent the past several years making those games pretty much all work on Linux.
Yep.
And, we'll see.
And by that context, if this is all running Linux, maybe this is enough performance to get good results.
Yep.
We'll see what game, let's go fire up a Crisis, fire up a Cyberpunk. Like, let's put it to the wall and see how it does.
Yeah. I think it's probably going to be fine. I got to figure out like Call of Duty on Linux. I don't really. Well, actually, I'm not sure you can.
The great thing if you buy one of the GameCube is you don't have to figure it out. You just click on it.
Nice.
GameCube.
No, it's the GameCube for me from now on. That's the best name ever. I love it.
With a crowbar, I'll be like the guy in Half-Life 2, just hitting the thing.
Yeah. The GameCube.
It's good.
Love it.
Okay. All right. So that happened. That just came out of the blue for me. So I didn't see that coming. Backbone today announced a new version. Well, just a new kind of a color scheme for the Backbone Pro. This is that phone controller that I reviewed probably 3-4 months ago. So now there's a version that's the Xbox edition. So it's like, it's got the OG Xbox, got a see-through glass. Well, it's plastic, but the green effect. So it's basically the same thing. But this controller is kind of unique because you can connect it directly with the phone, obviously, clip it in. You can connect it with a cable, like a USB cable. It uses a hardwired controller, but it also works wirelessly. So the compatibility is super broad because it works not just with phones, but, tablets, consoles, PCs, et cetera, et cetera. So if you like the Xbox aesthetic, you have that option now. Mm-hmm. And then I guess apparently it is 20 something or 30th anniversary or whatever it is of Fallout. It can't be that many years, but Fallout 4, they just released a new anniversary edition, I guess ahead of the second season of the TV show, right? Because that's coming soon on Amazon Prime. And it has some additional stuff, but the big one is if you bought this game on, say, the Xbox, you now have it on PC too. Right.
Nice.
So, and it has crossplay. So you can do the Xbox Play Anywhere stuff where you play the part of the game on the console, play part of it on the PC. It's the same game, et cetera.
And this is the Boston edition of Fallout, right? Like 3 was the DC. Yeah, 3 was DC. New Vegas is Vegas. 4 is Northeast. Yeah, it's Boston.
Okay.
And then 76 is the one nobody wants to talk about because ew.
Yes. Microsoft recently announced Halo. Sorry, I almost said Combat Reloaded. What's it called? Campaign Reloaded, right?
Campaign
so this is
Evolved.
Evolved, whatever the name of it is. I don't know. That's the OG. I know.
The names.
I'm too old for this. For these very similar names. But anyway, it's the original Halo single player campaign only. It's going to be on PlayStation 5. That was the big story, but it's going to be on everywhere. It's just the 4K, all that stuff. So that's cool. But as you would expect, they're switching to the Unreal Engine, latest version of that. I think it's the latest version of the Unreal Engine. Previously, Bungie, literally, I mean, Halo dating back to Bungie. They had their own rendering engine. And so one of the problems the Halo team always had was bringing in talent because they would waste weeks or even months just learning the new, to them, rendering system.
Yeah.
And,
this is what happens when you're slow on shipping too, is that suddenly a new rendering engine comes out. It's like, do we bump back another year and ship to this new engine?
Yeah. This is like the Daikatana thing where they were working on the Quake 1 engine and then Quake 2 came out and they were like, oh, we got to start over again, So look, they switched. And I know that was controversial for some people, but honestly, it was the right thing to do because now no problem. Everyone in this space knows that engine. So it's great. The stuff we've seen from that game looks awesome. And they have there's other Halo stuff happening. There's this kind of a rumor of a Halo online service where it's just Halo multiplayer, but all the maps, all the thing I always wanted for Call of Duty. And I'm sure other games, like actual new games, but not surprisingly, this kind of leaves Halo Infinite in the lurch, right? So this is the last game made on the old system. Didn't really have the uptick that anybody wanted. Part of the problem, of course, it launched day and date on Game Pass. So it's like they don't get that big boom revenue bump on the first month, like they used to when they would sell the game. And Microsoft started off pretty good. Like they were doing these major updates regularly. Like they've supported a lot of games like that, like Sea of Thieves, Gears of War, the latest Gears of War, or whatever version we're on now, etc. But they announced, I think it was sometime last year, like, yeah, we're not doing this anymore. We're going to have smaller updates. And then the last of those just came out. So they were basically, obviously, we're focusing on the new thing. It's like, we're not giving up on it. Like we know there are people who play it, and obviously people like in Forge making maps or whatever people are doing. But it's just Halo needs a fresh start. So I hope they can make that happen. And then the biggest game ever in the gaming industry, Grand Theft Auto, or game series maybe, even bigger than Call of Duty.
GTA 5 is a monster, man. Just a monster of a game.
Yeah.
The monster.
I can't say I've ever played it other than kind of casually just jumped in to look at it and see what it was like. But it's not my thing.
Committing crimes? You got a problem with that?
No. But I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it's the third person thing. I don't know. But Grand Theft Auto 6 is the most eagerly awaited game maybe of all time. And it's now been delayed twice. So it was originally supposed to come out, I believe, this holiday season.
No, it was originally 2025. Yeah.
Yeah. So then they delayed it to May.
Yeah.
And now they delayed it again to next November.
So fully a year from now. That is a long time.
And that worked out great for Halo Infinite, didn't it? Which is the reference that I made earlier to Leo, which was that we watched that event where they showed off Halo Infinite gameplay for the first time. And it was like, it's like, what is this thing? Like I will never forget my reaction, which was as like it went into the second or third minute and it was just the same looking thing as ever. And I was like, they must be doing they're doing like a Wizard of Oz thing, right? It's going to go from black and white to color. Like it's going to go from this crappy looking 20-year-old engine to 4K wonderfulness or whatever. And it never did, And there was a lot of criticism of some of the characters that were in the game that you could see, the guy in the ship, and then the I guess he was a brute or whatever that looked like a 8-bit drawing that a child would make and hang on a refrigerator. But they ended up delaying that game for a year, right? And then the thing
did they actually ship after a year? Because
no,
I don't know anybody who can bump out a year and actually nail that. Like, by bumping out a year, it means you don't know when.
They did ship something called Halo Infinite in a year, but it didn't have a bunch of the stuff that people were expecting, like co-op, single player, and Forge was not there in the beginning. Yeah. And over time, they added most of it, but they also canceled a couple things they originally said they were going to do. It didn't get off to a good start, is all I'm saying. I'm sure this will be better than this. The other big comparison here, of course, is Duke Nukem Forever.
Nah, it's not
the ultimate. I know. It's not. We're not quite there yet.
We're not in the decade league here. Come on.
Yeah. But I mean, this is, at the time.
Next, they're going to say Half-Life 3. And then what are we going to talk about? Half-Life 2 Part 3.
Oh, God. Damn, I'd give anything for Half-Life 3 right now. When we first learned that Duke Nukem Forever was coming, Duke Nukem 3D was still a big game. Like, it was really big. It was one of the biggest games ever at the time. And then several years went by and it was like, whatever, there's that's a problem. That can be a big problem. I do feel like if Valve, and I think they might, there's a lot of rumors about this, but if they ever did come up with a Half-Life 3 right now, I think it'd be pretty good, so we'll see. So I mentioned we flew to Oaxaca on Friday, 2-hour delay, by the way. So I was orchestrating this call with these guys from Uno Platform, and I literally got to the hotel, opened the laptop, and I made it with like a minute to spare. When we flew home from Oaxaca, 2.5-hour delay, lost the whole day. It was horrible. And all I could think was like, I need to zone out. When we get home, I told my wife, I'm like, I'm going to disappear for 3 hours. So I'm going to close the door. I'm going to lay on the bed. I'm going to play Call of Duty. I'm like, I just need to kill something right now. And I got home here and I laid on the bed and I opened up this thing to play Call of Duty on, and there was a 180 gig update.
And there you are with your 56K modem saying, how is this going to happen?
Oh, how
So 2 hours later, I played
kidding.
2 games of Call of Duty, and then we went out to dinner. But leaving that aside, so here's the problem. It was pretty obvious what's happening here, right? So I think it's tomorrow. Yeah, Thursday, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is coming out. So the way Call of Duty has, I don't want to say evolved, but devolved or changed or whatever, is that there's like basically a launcher, and you can go into different games. So today those games are Black Ops 6 and Warzone, which is their, the battle royale thing. But also if you have them installed, the modern warfare games that, the recent ones, because these things are all somewhat of the same generation or something. But they've added Black Ops 7 to this menu. So if you played it during the beta, you could go into the Call of Duty game and then select 7, play the 3 or 4 levels they offered at the time, and that was fun. Actually, it was terrible, but whatever, you could do it. And as of tomorrow, I guess we're going to be able to do it again. Anyway, this thing took, so I literally connected it to an Ethernet cable to speed it up. Took over 2 hours on this stupid little, anyway, 180 gigabytes, guys, come on. Like,
awesome.
What is that? And of course,
It really makes you want to kill something.
yeah. Yeah, I was a little frantic by the time this thing finally. But and by the way, if you're listening to this or watching, and you play Call of Duty on a PC, then you know this. You know, when you install a big update, now a big update typically is more like 12 gigabytes or maybe 30 gigabytes. You get into the game and it has to render the shaders. So you could start a multiplayer game, but you really want to wait for that to happen. So the whole time this is going, I'm watching it, and I'm like, this is never going to finish. I'm thinking to myself, hours are going to go by. I'm going to start this thing, and it's going to be like, yeah, hold on a second, we got to do the shaders again. And it's like, is there a better system somewhere? I mean, than this? Like, this is
Is there a better solution to this?
Yep. So this morning, I had an hour to kill because I'm going to talk about it in the back of the book, but the thing I'm going to talk about is a lot of downtime because it just was taking. So I had like an hour probably. I'm like, all right, well, this thing is doing its thing. I've kind of written what I want to write about it. Let's play a game. No, I had like a 6.7 gig update to go through again. This time it didn't run to the shaders, so that's good. But it didn't take that long actually. But it's like you start the game. It's like, yeah, no, you can't start it. Got to install the update. It's like, so. If you're wondering what the point of an Xbox console is, I'm not saying it's only this, but it is kind of only this because this would have installed overnight for me on a console.
Yeah. Right.
Why we can't figure this out on a PC is unclear to me, but I've never figured out a way to make that work.
And the funny part is like you never notice your browser being updated, but it's updated all the time.
Yep. Or if I notice Notion updating all the time, but I'll tell you, it reboots and it's done. Like it's pretty quick. I know.
The only time I know Edge is updated because Edge says, "Let me show you what's new," and I'm like, "Hello, no," and move on. Right? But otherwise,
what the frick is a 180 gig? What? Like, what is that? That's crazy. Anyway, all right, that was just really irritating.
That's how big games used to be.
Oh, it's so. Ugh. It is like I just reinstalled the damn thing. My wife, I said something to her about it. She goes, well, it's better now, right? I'm like, no, it's the same game. I waited 2 hours to play the same game.
You'd think.
How is it not? I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. I never agreed to preload like Call of Duty Black Ops 7. I mean, I would have, but like, I just wanted to play the game you have now. No. The same game.
No.
Anyway, it was terrible.
It's not your game.
Whew. Okay. And then one of the primary drivers of this game, Sony just did their earnings announcement. And as part of it, I think they sold 3.9 million PlayStation 5s in the most recent quarter. It's a small bump from the year ago quarter. This thing has obviously peaked and is on the way down, but they've now sold 84 million PlayStation 5s. Now, there's 3 console versions, right? The OG, the Slim, the one without the drive, the one with the drive, they have the Pro.
Yeah.
And the Pro, they've been... Yeah, they're going good with it. And but this is the thing, when you look at when you look at Sony and this part of their business, like the game and network services business, which is PlayStation, right, is the biggest business they have. It's the numbers are in yen, so I can't tell you what they are, but like just Sony overall, like operating profit, 2.8 billion in US dollars, and then 20 billion in revenue. So the part that is games is about a third of that, I guess, or maybe a little more than a third, or a little less than a third, maybe a quarter to a third. This is a good size for this business, but the big thing to me, they're doing great. Like obviously they've already kind of given us a little peek at what they're thinking for what will be called PlayStation 6, I'm sure. It's sold more than every Xbox ever made. Mm-hmm. Like this one, which by the way, at 87.4 million units, I think is that what I said it was? Yeah. If I didn't say it, I'm sorry, 84 million units. The PlayStation 3, which just barely eked out a win over the Xbox 360 from a unit sales perspective, that's 87.4 million units. So they're going to surpass that. Now, they're never going to surpass the original, which is 102 million units. They're never going to surpass the PlayStation 2, which is the big one for them, 160 million units. And they're not going to surpass the PlayStation 4, which was like 117, which is amazing, right? But this thing's doing really well. Like they have a pretty consistent record of success, is how I would say this.
84 million of anything is a lot, except maybe like sand, but yeah.
Sand, right? Or a smartphone app or something, like a farting app or something. It's really kind of impressive. And then of course their game, the selling of software is going great. 72% of, the games they sell are digital now. They've roughly 120 million monthly active users on PlayStation Network, et cetera, et cetera. So, it's going gangbusters, And, as an Xbox fan, we can relate. Okay. And then separately from their earnings, Sony also announced, this kind of came out of a blue, but actually the more I think about it, the more it makes sense, a 27-inch gaming monitor, which is coming out in the US and Japan early next year. It's 2560 by 1440, so 1440p, as we would call that. 240 hertz refresh rate, HDR, VR, variable refresh rate support. It has a little hook on it for the PlayStation controller, But this is a good example of the type of thing Sony should be doing, because Sony is this kind of conglomerate that does other things, and one of the many other things they do is consumer electronics like TVs, which, by the way, they're pretty good at. And so having a PlayStation gaming display to me is like, that makes sense. I think
it's a very Bang & Olufsen kind of, all up thing. If you love the PlayStation, you should have the Pro with the screen and the
yes, it's vertical integration is what I'm saying.
Sell as many things to the same customer.
It's going to be $325, $350 somewhere in there.
And anybody who could afford the Pro would probably buy the screen. I mean, the only real problem with the screen is only a 27, right?
I was just going to say the same thing. They need a 32 as well.
Should be a 33. Yeah.
I guess at that point, maybe you just get this. You just use a smart TV or whatever, but
something.
And I believe Sony makes one of those too. But anyway, it is a fun little hook for the thing. So that to me is what sells it. Apple would sell the hook for like $350, but they're going to.
Did you see?
Yes, the sock thing. Is that what you're going to say?
The $300. What is it? It's more than, it's a couple $100.
Yeah, I think it's $250.
iPhone sock.
An iPhone sock.
Yeah, everybody needs an iPhone sock.
So I read that as iPhone suck. And I was like, I get it. But
I don't know
Apple, first of all, they know their audience, right? This is some people who have too much money on their hands and too much time, and they're just looking at an excuse to break out the credit card and help Apple because, they're struggling. Apple is not doing great.
I haven't bought any Apple stuff lately. What can I buy? A sock, a cut-up sock.
Yeah. Does it come in different colors? It does.
Yes, it does.
It does.
Then I need more than one.
Yeah.
It's a crossbody sock.
Oh, well, there you go. Crossbody is everything these days. The sock's a good idea because if a thief grabs it, it will probably stretch out to 20 feet. And then when it comes back, you'll get hit in the face by the phone.
I'm going to ask my mom because I bet you she could knit me one of these for less than a couple $100. I'm just saying.
So?
Pretty sure.
Don't let her know that she could charge those numbers because...
You should have looked for this in Oaxaca. I bet there's some craftspeople right now.
Oh, my God, there definitely are.
Making the iPhone crossbody. Apparently, it will be sold in France, which explains a lot. China, Italy, Japan, Singapore, South Korea, and the UK and the US. But I think they expect it to sell mostly in France. It doesn't look like something a French
Why would
person
you expect it to sell? Okay. First
know,
of all, it looks like a pair of like women's
Yes.
leggings to start
This
with.
in a mankini and you're set.
It looks like a mankini for your phone.
Do you have one that has more of an Audi? This is a little too. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for.
It is designed by Miyake. I guess that's
Sure.
He's the guy who did Steve Jobs' black turtlenecks.
Yeah, and those were distinctive.
Yeah.
Like
One of a kind. Oh, look, you don't have to put it on your body. You could put it on your purse.
Yep. Yeah, that way you lose everything in one swipe. Smart.
Well, here's one that works as a bib. In
I
case,
saw an ad for it was an iPhone wallet. You know, you attach them on the back of the phone with your MagSafe thing.
Yeah,
And the guy's
I
like,
have
look,
that.
he's like, look how convenient this is. And he goes up to the pump at the gas station. He pulls the card out of the back of the wallet. And he puts it up to the machine. I'm like, your phone could do that. Like, why
have
are
you
you
gained?
putting your actual
What
credit card
have you
and
gained?
the phone that has your credit cards in
Yeah.
it in the same
That's pretty
place?
funny.
You know, it's like,
It's
what are you
pretty
doing?
funny.
Anyway,
All right. I believe we are prepared for the back of the book. If you have no objections, I would like to tell us about our sponsor, and then you will get some wonderful content designed specifically for you in mind from Paul Thurrott and Richard Campbell, including the tip of the week, the app of the week, the RunAs Radio pick of the week, and a delicious iPhone sock style whiskey.
right. Actually, could you put a bottle of whiskey inside the iPhone sock?
Nice.
You could.
I bet you could.
It
Would it be better?
stretches.
I
It's
don't know
one
the answer to
sock
that.
fits all.
One sock fits all.
It's funny because this particular bottle has a kind of brocade on it too.
I
Strange.
thought maybe there was a tie-in, but I
maybe
don't know.
the tie-in.
Let me first tell you about our sponsor, a company I love and use and have used for years, Zapier. Zapier allows me to get my work done. I've been using Zapier workflows at Twit since, for, 5 years, 10 years, long time. One of my favorite workflows is something I use every single day, but I don't even think about it. I have to think about Zapier. When I bookmark a story for a show, Zapier automatically takes it, sees there's a new bookmark, it automatically takes it, because by the way, Zapier has integrations for thousands of the apps and SaaS apps and desktop apps, phone apps that you use. So it's automatic. It automatically sees that I've bookmarked it in raindrop.io. It then posts it as a toot on our Mastodon instance. And it also at the same time crafts a single line in a Google spreadsheet just in the right format so that our producers can then take that and paste that into the rundown. I mean, it's just wonderful. But now here's the coolest thing. Zapier has added AI. So now all these workflows I have Zapier workflows to make my hue lights change color when the sun sets, that kind of stuff. I mean, for everything. All of them can use AI. Zapier has integrated AI. One of the things, I notice with AI is that everybody says, I want to use it, but then they sit down at the prompt and go, now what? Let's make you more efficient at work by using AI in a way that makes sense. Zapier is how you break the AI hype cycle and put AI to work across your company. You can actually deliver on your AI strategy now, not just talk about it. This is probably the best use of AI. Taking a workflow you've already got and introducing AI. So for instance, and by the way, they support ChatGPT, Claude, all the AI models you might want to use. So I think I would use Claude for this. So I can take the existing workflow and Zapier makes it really easy to add one more step. And in the middle, add a step saying, and take that story that I just bookmarked and run it through Claude to get me a bullet pointed synopsis, 4-line synopsis of the story that I can also put in the spreadsheet, or maybe make a briefing book for me and for our hosts. I mean, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. And you can add it to, workflows you already use or create all new workflows. And as always with Zapier, they have lots of examples. So you're never kind of wondering what to do. You can put AI wherever you need it. AI-powered workflows, an autonomous agent, a customer chatbot, or something like what I do. In fact, I just thought of something because when we add a guest to our worksheet, we have a wonderful Claude skill that I could use to automatically make a briefing book. Oh man, on this guess, every time I talk about Zapier, I think about another great way I can use AI. Zapier is for everyone. You don't have to be a coder. You don't have to be a tech expert. Teams have already used Zapier to automate over 300 million AI tasks. It puts AI into your business in a way that just makes sense. Join the millions of businesses transforming how they work with Zapier and AI. Get started for free by visiting Zapier.com/Windows. That's Zapier.com/Windows. Well, I have always loved Zapier. I've always used Zapier. And now they're even better. Zapier.com/Windows. Thank you, Zapier, for all you do for all of our shows. Now to Paul Thurrott, the back of the book, and your tip of the week, Mr. T.
Yeah, I think a couple weeks ago, probably, I was talking about the Cory Doctorow book and certification. Great book. A lot of good examples. Some of them are like, cherry picking is pretty easy. But the one thing, that is a valid criticism of the book is that it's in the subtitle too. He doesn't actually explain what we can do as individuals to, work sort of against certification. So it occurred to me that this is something that I just kind of do naturally. I mean, like I was thinking back to, when we used to write the Windows Secrets books, 20 plus years ago, or whatever, or if you can go back even further when it was just Brian Livingston and he was writing these books in the 1990s, like you would uncover things, or someone would for you or whatever it was, but you'd uncover, secrets about Windows or whatever, put them in a book. People could find that out, and later we would do this on the web, whatever. But I feel like most of like the tip type stuff that we have today is like, how do we just make Windows not stink anymore? Like how do we get rid of the things that make it terrible? Dave Plummer did a video, very short one, about, does Windows suck? And he's like, yeah, it does in some ways, but it's mostly for people like us, like people who are experts or pro users, whatever you want to call us. And it's because, they're designing this thing for people, and it's like, could I just have a switch that turns off all the nagging and nonsense and whatever? And the answer is no, but there are third parties that do that. And so, this is something as I work on the next version of the book, like I distinctly remember it was Windows 10, but I had to add a chapter to where it's like you're personalizing. It's like, here you turn off all the stuff that's annoying. And then sometime in the Windows 11 timeframe, I was like, well, there's this Edge chapter. Here's how you turn off all the stuff that's annoying. It's like, it's kind of turned into that. Like that's the job, And on that note, I think it's been roughly 6 weeks now. I had used Tiny11 Builder, which is a PowerShell script, to install a stupid clean minimalist version of Windows 11. It doesn't have OneDrive, doesn't have Edge. Because of the timing of it, I was able to install that month's Patch Tuesday update after the fact. The recent preview update from a couple weeks ago, and then this past, yesterday, the November Patch Tuesday. And of course, every time I'm looking for that thing where like, oh, look, Edge is back, or they've turned on the nags again or whatever. And it hasn't happened yet. And this will probably be it for me with this laptop because we're going home at the end of next week. But since then, and actually this morning, and this was the thing I was talking about, where a lot of downtime because this script takes 20 plus minutes to run. And then the install process for Windows takes 20 plus minutes to run because now it has that feature update thing it does right in the middle of the out of box experience. But I customized the script to kind of lighten up on some of the stuff it gets rid of, because there's some stuff in Windows I actually do use. And I found myself going to reinstall those things later, like Clipchamp and Paint and Terminal. And I don't remember the full list, but I'll be writing that up soon. So I was working on that article today, but I've now put a Tiny11 Builder based Windows 11 install on a second computer, which I'm actually not going to bring home with me. So I'll have to do this again when I get home, but that's okay. This is good practice. It just takes
more practice is always better.
Yeah. So, but the big question here is with anything, like if you use something after the fact where it's like, declutter Windows or whatever the term you want to use is, will Microsoft silently flip a switch at some point and turn the stuff back on, Yeah. And that's a concern because they update this thing, all the time. And so far, so good. Like I have no promises, but I will say, if your goal is like, I don't want this thing nagging me, I don't want suggestions, I don't want recommendations, I don't want it sending telemetry home to Microsoft, I don't want Edge, and I don't want to click on, well, you have to use another utility, but I don't want to click on widgets if I have it on in a story and have it launch or Edge, or want to launch Edge. Like, I want to use my browser like a normal person, this stuff is out there. So I will still have all the stuff I've had before in the previous couple of books, but I think this kind of, I think this is going to be like a new little push. This is like the de-insurtification of Windows. I don't know what to call it. I'm not going to call it that in the book, but like, it's like there are different levels. Like, how clean do you want it? You want it really clean? Because we can make it really clean. It's a good tool. It's free. Obviously, it's a PowerShell script. So you can read it. You can look at it. So you can edit it, right? Which is what I've been doing. So I think the next step after that is that's just a list of apps it doesn't install, but there's also other settings it makes or settings changes, and that gets into the weeds a little bit because you have to really know what you're doing. But I'm going to play with that too because I got plenty of free time and it's all good. No problem. So anyway.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very nice. How about an app? You got an app for us?
That's the app. I'm sorry.
That is the app.
Yeah. Sorry. I combined them.
The two kind of go together. Yeah.
Tiny
Yeah,
11 builder. Yeah.
that makes sense.
Solves the problems.
It's a good thing to solve.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, then I think it must be time for Richard and RunAs Radio.
Yeah. Episode 1010, or in binary, that's 10.
Well, that's confusing.
There you go. That's not confusing at all. This is Azure Resiliency with Chris Ayres. So Chris works for Microsoft, specifically on the resiliency of Azure itself. So he's usually not interacting with customers so much as he's improving how Azure runs. But his advice about, what Azure does to make things more reliable and how you can configure to build out is really interesting because he fully goes into that spectrum of you need to sit down and do a cost benefit analysis because you can create something that's incredibly resilient, but at what price? A price you're going to pay every day in maintenance and configuration and services versus what the cost of an actual outage would be. So we ended up with this, back and forth because I've gone through this back in the days of building out in data centers where it's like, how much does a redundant data center cost? How much does it cost to be down? We used to do the math for down for a day, down for 2 weeks, down for 3 months, because I've literally had a data center burn to the ground. And let me tell you, rebuilding from that, first off, make sure your disaster recovery plans not in the building.
Don't have it burned down with the
that's not good. And the backup tapes were sitting on top of the machine that burned.
No.
So,
so
they can get dramatic. And so what was fun going through that process, recognizing, you can keep going up this path, but the price goes up and the maintenance goes up. Like, it's not just paying for services, even when you're dealing with cloud, it's work you have to do on a routine basis as an administrator. So he gave us a huge raft of links, especially talking about what they call the Azure well-architected framework. It's just a great starting point for us. So you want to think about building a reliable app. And I've been pitching this to administrators because, development is in such a rush these days. They're really not thinking about these things very often, and they'll get deployed on a single instance, and you've got some reliability issues there. Like, you'll have regular outages in that configuration just because of the nature of the cloud. So pushing back on these frameworks that it's just not you complaining, but are actually, this is what Microsoft recommends. Here's how we could do this. Here's where the automation lives. Here's the telemetry parts so that you can get a full feedback loop, understanding where you're at. So I could have called this a DevOps show, really, because in essence, that's what DevOps is about. But it was about building really resilient systems in Azure. And Chris knows his stuff. I included even one of his talks because he knows it so cold, and his explanations are lovely.
Nice. Okay, runasradio.com, kids. You know where to go. Now, I don't know about you, but I need a brocaded bottle of something delicious.
This is another one from that party in Norway.
What a party that was.
It was quite a party. This is the Kyoto whiskey, the Kura-Obi, otherwise known as the Black Belt. And it
actually has an Obi on it.
Yes, it's literally wrapped in an Obi, and it is from Kyoto. So I did not know going into this how unusual this whiskey was, and not necessarily in a good way.
Oh.
So, but it's one of those things where I don't want to keep talking about weird whiskeys all the time. I like to make stuff that's much more approachable. This turns out to not be that expensive. But as I dug into it, the story is insane. So starting out, let's talk a little bit about Kyoto, because Kyoto is an amazing place. This is in the southern portion of Honshu Island, which is the largest of the Japanese islands, sitting in a valley in the Yamashiro Basin, in the eastern part of the Tamba Highlands. And it's surrounded on three sides by mountains, Higashiyami, Kitayami, and Nishiyami, which sounds very impressive to translate them, and they're the east, north, and west mountains. So it's Japan. So very hot summers, very cool winters. This is called humid subtropical. So it's kind of challenging for making whiskey, although a little more contained there. And this is old school inhabited land. They have evidence going back to the Paleolithic period. Humans have been there a long, long time. Although we don't get real documentation about humans living there until they start talking about Shinto temples somewhere around 600 AD. By 794, at the beginning of the Heian period, the imperial court moves to Kyoto and was the capital of Japan for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
It
We
stays there
loved
literally.
visiting Kyoto and the
It's amazing
Imperial
place, right?
Palace. And oh my God.
It doesn't move to Tokyo until 1869 during the Meiji renovation. And of course, famously, Kyoto was never bombed in World War II.
Because Harry Stimson, the Secretary of War, took it off the list. The military wanted to bomb it.
Well, they had a set of cities they didn't bomb because if they were going to try the atomic bomb, they wanted an unbombed city to test on it. So it was actually on the atomic bomb list.
Right.
That's why they avoided it. And
Right.
the apocryphal story is that Stimson had honeymooned there, and that turns out not to be true. But he had visited it multiple times in the 1920s.
And he understood its cultural importance.
And that's what his argument was,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That was the 1,000-year capital. There was so many things there that it would
Thank
actually
goodness.
galvanize the Japanese, because they were still concerned that they would have to invade the Japanese islands.
Right.
That was his argument. And he's not wrong. There are 17 UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Kyoto. I have tried to visit them all.
You can't.
You can't do more than 2 a day. It's just impossible. And even then you're racing to do 2 a day. So it's like 10 days, 9 days to even try, and you'll be exhausted.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kyoto is an extraordinary place. And as the Kyoto distillery will tell you, they're the first whiskey distillery in Kyoto, except that's a lie.
Oh.
I mean, right away, when I first started reading about this bottle, this is the first distillery in Kyoto. Wait, the original Yamazaki distillery was like right on the border of Kyoto. Like, are you kidding? And in fact, then I start looking up Kyoto distillery and I find another Kyoto distillery, although admittedly focused on gin. So I'm like, oh, is this the same distillery? Because then I go look again, and it's like, well, they also make gin, but the bottles are different. No, it's a different thing about it. In fact, the whole thing is kind of mysterious. So this distillery we now call the Kyoto Miyako Distillery, only founded in 2020. So it's pretty new.
Not the oldest by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it's just, the whole thing is so strange, right? And we've talked about Japanese whiskey before, and Yamazaki, really Suntory, and Nikkei being sort of the originals for those two splitting up and so forth. So I'm just trying to sort it out because, of course, there's a lot of stuff in Japanese which doesn't translate well. And I run across this site, which I've read before, called nomucation.jp, as in communication, but nomucation. And this is a site dedicated to whiskey from Japan and cocktails and news around that. And it's run by a pseudonym, Whiskey Richard, which I do not understand why he picked his name. Not because I'm a famous Richard in whiskey at all. Like, there's a guy named Richard Patterson, which is literally like OBE, worked at Dalmore, one of the best whiskey guys on the planet. So there's a lot of, famous Richards whiskeys. There's a band called the Whiskey Richards, for crying out loud. And the stupid part is his name's actually Liam McNulty. Okay.
Whiskey Liam would be just as good.
Just fine. I think it doesn't translate well in Japan.
Maybe
that's what it is. That those are difficult words in Japanese, right. And so he picked an easier one. Now, Liam's done the work. He was concerned about this thing too, and so he really dug in. He looked up domain names, he looked up trademark registrations, and so forth, and he found out that actually the company that owns it is called Kyoto Shuzo, which is a hint because there is this group called Matsui Shuzo, which owns the Matsui whiskey distillery, which is very notorious in Japanese whiskey circles. And so in Liam's digging, he finds out that, hey, the trademarks are registered through the same company at the same time. They also host the websites for both the Matsui distillery and the Kyoto distillery on the same website. Then he finds out they're literally using the same Google Analytics code. So the sites, show up in the same registration. Then he found a job listing for Kyoto Miyakayo, which included training at the Matsui distillery. So it's like, this is Matsui who's doing this. And so what's this about? So Matsuzi Shuzo is a very old company. They've been making shoju since 1910.
Which is what? It's like...
This is the Japanese whiskey that we talked about. That's made from rice.
Okay.
Right? And it's a legit product all its own. It's not popular outside of Japan, mostly because its natural alcohol level is about 30%. And that means it doesn't qualify for a spirit. So it's really hard to import. Because you need to be over 40% to be a spirit, and it's too high to be anything else.
It's not a beer. It's not a spirit.
It's lost. It's unfortunate, right? And shoju is beautiful. Like if you're in Japan, drink some shoju. Like you'll enjoy it. It's lovely. So, and Matsui got into whiskey distilling only in 2015, and he had these two distilleries. Well, first he had the Yurakoshi distillery. And he started selling whiskey right away. His first whiskey, almost within a year, was the Yurakoshi 18. I don't know how you do that, except that maybe you didn't make the whiskey. And if you ever look up a bottle of Yurakoshi 18, you know what it looks exactly like? A bottle of Yamazaki 18. Same label style, same layout. Like if you don't look carefully, you would not realize these are actually different whiskeys. And of course, here's the kicker. There's actually no Japanese whiskey in that bottle at all.
Oh.
Right? Because how could there be? He hadn't been open long enough to actually make any whiskey. It's a minimum of 3 years. He'd be called whiskey. But he's good at buying whiskey. So if you read, again, the label very closely, it doesn't say distilled in Japan. It says made in Nippon or made in Japan. Because they're not lying. That would be illegal. What they're doing is they're buying barrels from other locations, mostly Scotland or other distilleries in general, and building their things together. In fact, it wasn't in 2017, 2 years after that distillery opened, that they announced that they bought stills.
My God, they're going to make some.
Well, and this is the thing is, the Japanese whiskey business for a long time had to buy from other sources. It takes time to mature and so forth. That's why they're also often into gin and things where they can sell whiskey right away, or sell booze right away. Right? You can run those stills. You can make gin in a few months, where you can't make. It takes years to make whiskey, and so it's not that unusual for Japanese whiskey to be a combination of a lot of different things. Right? Even Yamazaki or Suntory owns Ben Nevis, and they put their things in there, but they label that they do. And we talked about this originally in the Japanese whiskey store, where in 2021, a group called the JSMLA, or the Japanese Spirits and Liquors Makers Association, which they originally formed in 2016, set out a set of rules. Now, it was done kind of close-handed, right? This was Suntory and Kirin and Humbo Shizo and Nikkei and Venture Whiskey that were really involved in writing the specification. And the specs were what you'd expect, that the spirit must be fermented, distilled, and aged in a distillery in Japan. But notice the grain doesn't have to come from Japan, because there's such little grain grown in Japan, they have to import that. It must contain malted grain, but it can also contain other grains. It has to use Japanese water. It has to be 3 years in wooden casks, no bigger than 700 liters, but they don't specify oak. You can use what you want. Distilled no higher than 95, can't go below 40, bottled in Japan. And if it breaks the rules, you can't call it Japanese whiskey. But you could call it world whiskey. And also, if you're not compliant, if you're not qualified Japanese whiskey, you cannot use a Japanese proper noun like a city name. You cannot use Japanese flags, any of those things. That's the rules. Now, that's not like they're laws. These are just the rules. And Matsui Shujo is a member of the JSLMA, right? And so their whiskeys over there are supposed to comply, but the Kyoto Mikiyako distillery is not a member. Now, nominally, because it's owned by the same company, they're supposed to comply to the same rules, but they're not. Now, he got the license for that distillery was in 2020, and they have 2 pot stills right off the bat. But in 2021, they released 3 whiskeys. A year later, 2021, all wrapped in what's called Shinji Ori, which is a specifically a Kyoto style of brocade or fabric that they wrap the bottles in. So the bottles are beautiful. And so there's a red belt, a purple belt, and a black belt. So the red belt of the Akiobi is a blend of malt and grain whiskey with no age declaration. And they even say it's for blending. And it's supposed to be inexpensive, but it's really not that cheap on its retail price. It was about $70. And then the Murasaki Ori, or the purple belt, which is the most expensive of the bunch, was straight malt whiskey, all third party, of course, because they didn't have time to make any. And generally is the most liked of the bunch, and it's like almost $200, which is pricey. And then the one that I got to try, which is the Kurobi, or the black belt, kind of the middle child, a blend of foreign and domestic whiskeys, but done very much in a bourbon style, where they have aged in both virgin oak, but then finished in bourbon casks. So it kind of tasted like a bourbon, like it was not that adventurous. And the retail price from them is about $120, which is pretty steep for what this is. But I found it on Total Wine for $65 because clearly it's just not selling that well. 46 ABV. This is, you know what? The bottle's gorgeous. And I think that's the best thing I can say about it.
It is. Although if you're just going to buy for the bottle, I kind of like the purple belt, but okay.
Yeah. But, you know, and kind of they're often sold as packs of all three. Right? So I think this is the Kyoto distillery trying to come out big, but they're years away from actually making a product. And we get back to like, what are you trying for here? Like, what is your experience? I really feel like, and it sounds like most of Japan understands this, even if the rest of the world doesn't. This is a company that's diminishing the quality of Japanese whiskey. That when Yamazaki won the gold award back in the day and put Japanese whiskey on the map, a lot of companies have tried to ride those coattails. It's worth a lot of money. And hence the illusion bottles and things like that for people who aren't paying close enough attention. But in Japan, they don't buy this stuff because they know it's a lie, that there is good Japanese whiskey. It's just not from these guys.
Yeah.
Now, look, drink whatever you want. If you like it, you should drink it. But if you're after a bourbon, buy a bourbon for less. Yeah, and I think you'd have a good experience there too. And I really don't like encouraging people whose business models seem to be deceptive.
So there's no corn in this.
No, corn's pretty rare in Japan, right? You'd have to import it. And if you're going to do that, import barley.
So it seems like really the reason it tastes like bourbon is because of the barrels?
Yeah, it's basically been aged in a bourbon cask, right?
And it just really imparted that strong flavor to it.
Yeah, and it really not that strong.
Corn.
I mean, it's quite mild. Yeah, corn tends to make things very sweet.
Yeah,
this is more your sort of fruity. It's again, none of the grain declarations are on there, so it's hard to know exactly what's in there. But it's a beautiful bottle that landed in this roster of extraordinary whiskeys, and it looked great, and it didn't taste bad, but just wasn't batting at the level of the other things we were drinking.
Not for the price.
Well, exactly. And the fact that it's been so heavily discounted already sort of speaks to this was a failed play. And, I'm going to sit with Liam McNulty here. Like, I prefer my customers to be informed when there's a bad actor in this business that I think is doing harm to the business overall.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. So it was a surprise. This is not the story I thought I'd be telling. And then you start digging in, and you're like, holy cow, look at this.
Look for the OB on eBay. Somebody will have sold the OB, and you can just get the like OB and not
I bet you there's an eBay of the empty bottles. If you just like the brocade, get the bottles.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Anyway, that's my ride today. And I'm going to be in Australia next week, so there'll probably be an Australian whiskey on the list.
Nice. I look forward to it. Mr. Richard Campbell, he is in New Zealand right now on the dairy farm. Where the cows are milking any minute now, right? Or is I don't know.
Are they milking or getting milked? I don't know.
They got milk. They milk about 5 a.m. and then again at 2:30 in the afternoon.
That's why I always laugh when they say the farmers wanted daylight saving time.
Yeah,
because the cows don't know.
No, the cows don't.
The cows don't care what the clock says.
No,
right.
So anyway, so what? Farmers still have to get up at whatever time the cow is ready to get milked.
Yeah, well, the cows generally, in this farm in particular, the milk shed is up the hill, and the cows don't really want to go up the hill. So you have to go down in your ATV and encourage them to come up.
Oh,
yeah. Just encourage them. It's not really a herding. It's like, come on, girls, let's go.
Some Australian shepherds.
Let's go.
Yeah, nip at their heels.
Yeah, they don't use dogs here anymore. They don't?
Really?
No.
Oh.
The cows follow where the gates are open. They know what they're doing. Cows are plenty bright.
They are. Especially if there's food at the other end of the chute.
Well, it's more relief than food. They're actually walking away from the food.
Yeah,
they're walking. The food is grass.
They just get me out of here. All right, Richard Campbell, RunAsRadio.com. That's where you'll find RunAs Radio and .NET Rocks. We'll see you in Australia next week. Mm-hmm. Paul Thurrott, he is at Thurrott.com, THURRO.com. That's where his blog is. It's not a blog, his site is. And also all that great content as the premium members get is also there. Become a premium member. I highly encourage it. He also lives his books too at leanpub.com, where you can get the field guide to Windows 11 and Windows everywhere. Mm-hmm. You're going home next week, or are you going to be in Roma Norte?
We'll be here for the next show, and then we go home next Friday.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Time to get the turkey. Yeah. Are you in charge of cooking this year?
So my wife is always in charge of cooking the Thanksgiving, to the tune of when we moved to Pennsylvania. The first year we hosted, 2 sisters and all their families. And they were both like, this is way better than anything anyone has ever made. You're doing this every year.
Oh, dear.
So even though it's like going to be at my sister's house, my wife will be cooking. Yeah.
Will you next week give us some of Stephanie's secrets? Because I am responsible for cooking this year and I want some.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but it involves a lot of brining.
Brining.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to dry brine this year.
Interesting.
I'm going to use the Kenji Alt Lopez dry brine technique. He puts a little bit of baking soda in it to crisp the skin.
So we get 2 turkeys. So one's probably going to be like 27, 28 pounds. The other one will be smaller. But the big one we bring Thanksgiving. The next one we cook the next morning because we let everyone just have all the leftovers.
Oh, nice. And then you get your own.
Then we have our own because then we can do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. I think everyone should have a personal turkey.
I am kind of the family turkey mascot or whatever, but
that's why I like those Cornish game hens. It's like having your own little turkey.
Yeah, it's like a little turkey.
Get a bite of everything, right?
It's like when you get a quail egg and you're like, I would like a huevito.
And then, and does she do, what are the sides that she likes?
Yeah. So, I mean, she does all the classics. So it's, mashed potatoes, the stuffing is unbelievable, which yes, we put in the bird and, as much of it as we can. And then she makes pie. She makes unbelievable. The other thing she's like completely masters, like pie crust, like homemade pie crust.
That's a skill.
Pumpkin and apple pie is, and then other family members make other stuff. But
nice.
I'm going to
do mashed potatoes, but I'm thinking of doing Amish dinner rolls, and they have 1 cup of mashed potatoes in them for moisture.
Yeah,
nice.
So I thought that might be kind of fun.
I think I mentioned last week's show my aunt had gone out and shot a deer and then retrieved it because she does that. She was the one who shot the pig like last spring. So last night,
does she have anger issues?
She like the governor of Texas or something? What's going on here?
She's nearly 90.
Whatever.
She's nearly 90. She's a dead shot, and the whole neighborhood knows that when you have a problem with an animal, you call her, and she'll take care of it for you.
Oh my God! Nearly 90.
Unless it's like the problem is like you lost your kitten, right? You don't want to. You don't want her on that case.
No.
Yeah.
Nope. She's like, I found it.
That's crazy. So the neighbor called her saying, "Hey, there's deer eating my garden. Can you help?" And she's like, "Sure." Popped down, took one of them, scattered the others, and then she fetched it the next morning because it was a bit too late to go out that far. She's now so small she couldn't carry it, so she got help to get it in. And last night we got the rump roast off of it and had venison stew.
Was it good?
It's delicious.
It's a little gamey, maybe though.
Nah,
yeah, that kind of stuff's actually really good. Yeah, I have a friend who hunts, and the little like the venison stuff is amazing. Like it's actually really good.
But I know I told you that story last spring where it was a boar that came out of the forest and was harassing animal. He killed an animal in there.
Yeah.
And she didn't realize how big it was, came down with a 22 rimfire.
No.
Realized how large it was, shot it once so it looked at her, and then shot it again through the eye to kill it.
Oh, Talk about a dead shot.
She's
Oh
a
my
dead
God,
shot.
she's like Annie Oakley.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
And then
I can't kill a boar with this, but I will shoot it in the eye.
Exactly.
Shoot it through the eye, take it down. Yeah.
Holy camole.
But for the deer, she had the 222, which is a little hotter round, so it did the job. First shot.
Unbelievable.
Shot
Wow.
through the heart. Dropped it. He says,
Good.
I don't.
That's
don't like
the least
shooting-
cruel. Yeah.
Well, it's very quick, and it doesn't take the meat, which is what she was really concerned
Right.
about. It's like, I'm shooting a
That's
deer
right.
because we're eating it. Although I did have some of the boar sausage too, which is outstanding.
The blind boar sausage.
I got to tell you, yeah, my aunt is awesome. She's
She lives
so
there.
Funny.
She lives in-
she lives next door, right?
Next
it's on
door.
the farm.
Nice.
It's the family farm.
What a life. What a life.
Yeah.
Let's see. I guess I should mention that this show is made possible not only by our fine sponsors, but to a great degree by our fine listeners via Club Twit. And I do want to encourage you, if you have not joined Club Twit, to do so. It is 25% of our operating expenses covered by the club. And that's really a big deal for us. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without your help. It also gives us a chance to, give you ad-free versions of the shows. We have the wonderful Club Twit Disco, which is where you can hang out. It's a Discord, but I call it the Disco, with other Club Twit members, and talking about not just the shows, but everything, geeks are interested in. We're getting ready for the advent of code coming up December 1st. We talk about 3D printing. We talk about Elon Musk, everything. It's all in here, even some of the games we play. And there's special events too. In fact, speaking of games, we're going to finish our D&D adventure. I hope you're ready, Mr. Hammerholm. Helm Hammer, what is it? Helm Hammerhold? Paul Thurrott's character will join me. I'm Sagbottom the Cheerful. Our Dungeon Master, Micah Sargent, Paris Martineau, Jonathan Bennett from the Entitled Linux Show, and Jacob Ward, as we complete The Horror in the Cornfield, Monday, 2 p.m. Pacific. Club members, next time we do this, we're going to invite you to, of course, Photo Time with Chris Marquardt, the end of the week, Friday at 1 p.m. He'll look at our balanced submissions. Micah's Crafting Corner next week. We've got some great interviews coming up. The Q&A for Scott Wilkinson is in next week. There's a lot of fun stuff that happens in the club. And again, it supports what we do. It makes it possible for us to bring you all this great programming. So if you're not a member, do me a favor. Join the club, twit.tv/clubtwit. We would very much like to have you in the club. Thanks to the club, we were able to stream this show every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Hi, Paul. I don't know what you're doing here, but welcome. It's good to see you. No, Paul comes every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. That's 1900 UTC. We stream it live on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, X.com, Facebook, LinkedIn. Actually, I don't think we do TikTok anymore because it's too complicated. And Kick. Did I say Kick? X? Anyway, 6 different platforms, also in the Club Twit Disco. After the fact, on-demand versions of the show available at our website, twit.tv/WW. There's audio and video there. The video also lives on YouTube. There's a dedicated Windows Weekly channel, a great way to share clips with friends, stuff that you think they'd be interested in, or your boss. And, of course, the best way to get any of our shows, including this one, is to subscribe in your favorite podcast player. Leave us a great review. We'd appreciate that. We have links on the website to Pocket Casts, Overcast, all the big ones, Apple. But you pick the one you like and subscribe. We will see you right here next week, next Wednesday on Windows Weekly. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.
See you next time.